part of like deconstruction and liberation work is the own liberation of yourself.
Hmm.
And I didn't realize, I thought when I was like deconstructing, I just thought, man, I'm going to learn some new theology. I'll get rid of some bad theology. I didn't really, I really didn't go into it with like a goal of like, I'm just going to shatter my faith. And I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. And then like the more like I just kept going, I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know. I don't know
Was there a
what
was
type of
there a
person.
moment in it where you got to a point where you were like, I need to deconstruct Jesus? And was that a big moment, or it just happened organically as you went through the process?
It happened organically. It really, once I started reading the church fathers, um, and seeing like their inconsistencies, and that's when I really was like, something's not right. And then that's when I started deconstructing the doctrines. That's when I was really like, they don't understand him at all. They didn't get it. They didn't. Augustine didn't even read Greek. That's crazy. And then he butchered the Latin. He was called out on it, and the Western Church was just like, eh, we're doing it. We're gonna do it anyway. And so, but
Those are
the,
some good memes. Those we're gonna do it anyway
we're gonna
memes.
do it. Oh my God, I should make that. I love memes.
There's a there's one of the there's a I think his name is John and I think his last name is Chris, but it's spelled Christ.
Hmm.
Maybe it is pronounced
Oh,
that way.
John Christ.
But how is it isn't it spelled the same as
No, it's Christ. He's a comedian. Yeah, I know. I've seen him live.
Did you see the one that he did with the this giant globe building in the background and he's like, "Here it is." He just did it a couple days ago, I think.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it is so good. You're gonna love it. So basically, I'll butcher the storytelling of it, but he's standing like at a street corner and he runs up. But there's this like brand new building. It's enormous. It looks like a globe, like a pink magenta looking glass, brand new state of the art building by some amazing architect, and it's enormous. And he
Okay.
runs across the street. And he's like, "Hey, family, it's Pastor Josh or whatever." And he's just like, "We're thrilled to announce the grand opening this weekend of our new church.
Oh.
We were able to raise $150 million. Um, and then he goes on. He's like, unfortunately, we can't. We did have to stop the soup kitchen. We didn't
I'm
have.
not listen.
It's so Brandy. It's so good. It's so
I
good.
have
He's
to
just
say
like
it.
it's spot on. And the
The
building
thing
is just
about this is when you live that for real.
yeah.
I've lived that for real.
That's what makes the joke so good is it's so true.
It's very true.
So that's what makes it hilarious. And he's just like, unfortunately, we had to cut. What else did they cut? They had a soup kitchen in the past, but they weren't able to work that into the budget. They raised 150 million for the church, but they did have to cut that.
But they can afford a PR firm.
Yeah,
You
and then
know.
and they cut something else, some other like basic service of humanity, like what people would need to survive. He's like, we had to cut that. We had to cut the food thing. That was costing us $100 a month.
Let me see if I can find it because he's a mess. I'm just.
You're
Is
gonna
it?
love it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I had contacted a therapist today because my AI protocols kicked in. So like when I started doing the learning AI, the first time I had like a physical reaction to like the deconstruction, I was like, ooh, okay, that's not normal. So I played around with it a little bit and I figured out like what the problem was. So I put like a slow pause protocol inside the AI so it wouldn't overwhelm me with like too much information up front to give me time to like integrate new ideas. And then but I also like once I figured out, I was like, okay, this is kind of okay. I had to like figure it out. And so what I did was I put like mental health protocols in there. And I guess I forgot about them because so far like it's been okay, but like today it just hit me kind of hard. Like I was like, "Oh my God." Like and like my AI protocols kicked in. They were like, "It's therapy time." Like AI sent me to therapy because I told them to send me to therapy.
Just said, yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, "Oh." And so like
Programmed AI to like monitor, like it's gonna know when you're like
yes.
you're
It's
at a
it's
breaking point.
yes, it's programmed to identify when like not psychosis or anything, but like when I'm overwhelmed and it's beyond. Yeah. I've programmed AI to know its limits. Like this is not something that I can help you with. You need to go to therapy. And so I built all those protocols in, and it kicked in, and I was totally shocked by it. Like I was like, it worked. It freaking worked.
That's your brain just told you it's time for therapy.
No, the AI did. The AI was, I guess, well, I mean, technically it's reading my brain or my reactions or whatever.
That's crazy.
But like, I was just really surprised that my protocols worked. And then it was just like, all right, it's time. Like, it's time for you to go. And I was like, all right, so I called a therapist.
Have you been to them before?
No, the therapist that I tried two places. One place was in Washington in California, and they have like specific therapy for deconstructionist, a liberation based therapy, somatic, and things like that. And so I was looking for something very specific, and then I was like, let me just see like what's locally. And there's a lady in my church, and me and her have been like kind of talking a little bit, and like she's like deconstructed or whatever, and like but we've like been having like conversations. But then I look online today and I see she's a therapist, and so I was like, let me call her to see what she thinks. And she was like, Brandy, she was like, you are literally like, I guess to say like, when you're taught to survive, like I've been surviving. Like I can't explain it. I've been just based off like my childhood, like there was a lot of things that I have not reconciled because my faith taught me to. So like when I would give my testimony, right? I would give my testimony, but I would never disrespect anyone. You know what I mean? Like I would just be like, this is what happened to me because of this is what happened to my dad or my mom, or I would explain the situation, but in a respectful way where I was not demonizing them in public. And that was the same for like any other like relationships that were like key to like different specific points in my life. But the thing about it is that I also kept that mentality like when I went into like therapy or like when I, was like discussing my past. And then like as I've been doing the deconstruction and like pulling off the layers, a lot of what I adopted from Christianity kept me from dealing with my personal, my inner child, I guess you can say. Like the way I explained it is like I was literally just like sweeping up the trash into corners and just like leaving them there. Like I'll deal with it later. And like, but then when I miscarried and then I had a baby right away, and then I got I think I got like the first or the second strand of COVID. I almost died.
Oh my
and
goodness.
and like so much trauma just back to back, and then like having like postpartum depression. Like I was just in a really bad place. I was tired. Like I was just mentally worn out. And just like the culmination of that, just like, ugh. And then as I've been deconstructing, like I've realized how much I've silenced myself, how much I've allowed like my experiences in church with like men, like how much I've like stuffed that down,
Hmm.
like being talked down to, being treated like I'm not smart, that I'm not intelligent enough to preach, or but I'm literally doing the job of three other youth pastors in the church.
Right.
And like just dealing, like I had preached one sermon. I did such a good job. They were totally jealous. like they were like, "You'll never preach in church ever again." Like, who are you? Like, oh my God, like just I don't know. And so I just like stuffed all that stuff, but like deconstruction and liberation theology together, like it's like unearthed all of that. And it's very
Yeah, it's not just about the theological deconstruction necessarily, huh? It's more than that.
it's all of it.
All of it. Yeah.
It's all of it. And I think that what happens is that a lot of people, they start deconstructing the faith and they find the contradictions and stuff, but they're not willing to go deeper. And I think that but I understand why, like when you really like read the Bible like for what it is, and like you like see like all of it, you're like, oh holy crap, like it's either A, they know about this, or B, um they're clueless, but they're not clueless. Like I'm reading like Bart Ehrman like right now. I'm reading like Peter Enns and something like these scholars know. They're just siloed and they're not pulling it together. Like the answer is there.
But you don't think that they like willingly don't know it? There's no malice in it. Like, or
I
they just like, do you think they know but they don't want to know type of thing, or they don't want to? They're like intentionally not piecing it together, or is it not that nefarious?
I think that this is my personal opinion. My personal opinion is I'm afraid. I think they're afraid to say what they know they have to say. I think that saying that the bodily resurrection didn't happen, they're afraid it's going to cost their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had that at my undergraduate school. They brought in a good scientist that was not a creationist. And he had to toe this line of like kind of pretending that he was open to both things, or like
Oh God.
it was crazy.
Right.
How you doing,
And
Adam?
and the thing
Sorry.
about it is that, oh, I'm sorry, Adam. I apologize.
No, I think you've been here before, right, Adam? No.
Maybe you sound familiar. I don't know.
Yeah. I think you
But
stopped in once before. We're talking about something.
sorry, Adam.
No. Do you have any
Oh, you're
questions,
fine.
Adam, or are you just hanging out?
No, I was just listening to Brandy's story. Like, are you an atheist now, Brandy?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not. Oh, dang.
I am, what's the word I'm looking for? I am open to mystery.
Yeah. You need to put some kind of ology on that.
um,
You need to figure out what that's called and called it.
well,
Agnostic or something, or
No.
I will say this. I'm a disciple of Jesus. I don't believe in the resurrection as far as bodily resurrection. I believe what the Hebrew people believed about resurrection. Um, the thing about it is that the Bible has not been read from a Hebrew worldview. When the church fathers got a hold of it, they were so removed from it. They were reading it through their Greek lens. They were reading it through Greek philosophy. So they weren't they weren't understanding what it is. They weren't understanding this is what the Bible is. The Bible is the Hebrew people taking stories, okay, from the area that they lived in, and what they did was they added symbolism on top of the narrative. But the symbolism, if you catch it, it talks about God's justice. It talks about liberation. Like it was their way of finding Yahweh in the midst of turmoil, in the midst of oppression. And a lot of people don't catch the symbolism because they don't know how to read the Bible. Like, for example, they'll read Genesis, but they don't understand that Genesis is poetry. So they'll miss the mirrorism, they'll miss the parallelism, they'll miss the structure of it. Um, and the thing about it is that with the New Testament, there's a lot of Hebrew Easter eggs in the text, but if you don't understand their symbolism, you'll miss it. You will just flat out miss it. But the scriptures, the New Testament, even though it's written in Greek, it's written in a Hebrew worldview. And yes, there are some books of the Bible that are in question. I don't deny that. I have I have a historical critical lens when I read the Bible. Like I'm not pretending that there's something there that's not. If that makes sense.
So you believe in Jesus, and you think Jesus was God, or what?
I believe that his ethics are divine. I believe that his story, like the narrative is there, the story is there, and the symbolism is there. But I think that the Greeks made it into something that it wasn't, if that makes sense.
And do you believe Jesus said he supported the old laws?
I believe that Jesus was trying to show the heart of the scriptures. So, like, for example, when you tell somebody, like, for example, if I tell my kids, you can't be on the tablet right now, you know, the reason why I'm telling them that is because I think they've had too much tablet and I think that they need a break, right? I think that it's that same spirit. What he was saying is, okay, well, if you're getting a divorce, don't do it for selfish reasons like, oh, I hate the way she cooked, or I hate this or hate that. He was setting up boundaries to, like, this is the reason why you shouldn't do this. When you look at Paul was, he was saying this, and this. He's trying to explain how to live contradictory to Rome's philosophical ethics. So when he says, men, love your wives, that's because in the Roman way of thinking, they had a penetrator versus the penetrated sexual ethic. Men weren't loving women. Women didn't have any type of, they didn't have rights. They were second class citizens. They didn't have to love their wives. They were just there for procreation and whatever else they wanted to do. So for him to say, men, love your wives, even though in our 21st century mind, we're like, yeah, love your wife, duh. Not to them. I mean, even in in the ancient Near East, it was a misogynistic sexual ethic. There was no, so God had to create laws to keep men from doing their nastiest,
Hey, Streak,
Hey, babe.
welcome here.
How is everybody?
Doing
Good.
well.
Hey, girl. Hey.
We're just getting some knowledge that's so good that I feel like we should be paying for it.
Oh no. Adam, did that answer your question?
No, are you and the host the same religion? Like, I don't, like, I'm still lost. I have no idea what religion you are. Sounds like
What
you
was the
made up your
question?
own religion.
Does that
Host, are you
matter
and
though,
Brandy the
Adam?
same
Really?
religion?
So Adam, I can answer.
We're talking about religion. I'm just curious what religion people are, like, I don't know.
No, we're talking about Christianity here. Like,
Who's got all the background noise? Me?
I think it's TikTok.
I don't know who that is. No, we're talking about Christianity. I'm just talking about it from a historical critical lens. Anthropology. I'm talking about anthropology.
But you think the Bible, like they selected the right books and it was written right and stuff, or
So, in one of the books that I was reading, he's a New Testament scholar. He just had his last lecture last week. But in the book, when it talks about misquoting Jesus, he says that like when they put the canon together, one of the guys was like, well, there's like the four pillars of the earth. So, or like four pillars of like earth or something like that. And he was saying, but because we have four pillars, then we should only have four gospels. Basically, they were trying to control it because what happened was Christianity was wild after Jesus died and the early church was expanding and stuff. I mean, there were so many different doctrines or stories and stuff popping up, and it was disruptive to Rome, and so Rome was like, "Nah, we got to get this under control because this has the opportunity to destabilize my nation." They didn't want that, and so one of the big arguments was they were discussing what God's substance is. And the thing about it is that in the Hebrew context, that's not a category they even considered. They didn't think about, because they literally, like, God describes himself. He says, I am that I am. I will be what I will be. They didn't think about God in terms of substance and, is there a body? Or the Greeks wanted a body. The Hebrews didn't care. It just, they didn't understand what they were reading. They didn't understand how the Jewish people wrote. They didn't understand the symbolism. That's why this the funny part. That's why I laugh when I see the book of Revelation at the end of the book, because the book of Revelation was a big middle finger to Caesar. It was a FU to Caesar, and they put it at the end of the book.
It's gold. Chose, welcome, sir. I chose.
Hello.
Maybe he's
Hello.
occupied.
No, that was it. I just had to find the button.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay.
Hey, I liked a video of yours a lot. I think I saw it today, or maybe it was yesterday.
Which one?
I think you were just meditating. You were just sitting outside for I have the right.
Yeah,
That was you, right?
I'm once a day. I mean, it's
I
not
love
quite
it.
meditating. It's only a minute. I sometimes do meditation, like in the live, but the videos are a minute long. I haven't done a 10-minute meditation yet. That would probably be pretty serious, but who would stay with me,
Do you do that on your own pretty often?
Like 40 minutes is like my daily goal.
That's awesome. Do you always do it at the same time of day?
No, definitely not.
Do you usually do it outside if the weather permits?
No, so I do. I'd usually try to do one sit down in the room on the cushion a week, and then the other ones are usually like either walking meditations or meditations in like the space that I'm physically in at the time. Because I think a lot of times people, I don't know, they're trying to quiet mind and body at the same time, and sometimes the only way the body shuts up is if it's doing something. And so, like, people sleep on the walking meditation. They sleep on the like active meditation.
Interesting. I participated in it. I don't know if that was what you're even supposed to do, but I watched
I'm
it
so
first.
glad.
I watched it first when I was driving, and then I think I either saved it or I just didn't touch it until I got to where I was going. And then before I went in, I just stood outside and watched the video again, and kind of just for however long it was, 60 seconds or 90 seconds.
60 seconds. I try to do it once a day.
That's awesome.
Mostly I get comments where people are like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good."
I loved it. For some reason, when I saw it, I took it as like do this when you have a minute.
Excellent.
So yeah, I enjoyed it.
I like that kind of internal work, and I think that, especially on TikTok, like there's a need for a little bit of a breath that's not like an advertisement, right?
Yeah.
Like there's that one lady that's like, "You've been scrolling a long time,"
Yeah.
and I'm like,
I hate
"That's
that
not
notice.
right." But I'd rather do something a little more quiet. I also like my lives are mostly me working on these different art projects while I'm listening to music, and I'm old, so I've been listening to a fair amount of old music.
I watched one of those when I was driving as well. I spent a lot of my day in the car for my job. And so sometimes I'll either listen to something or be in silence or click on something, have it scroll through. Like I clicked on a different live, I think is what happened, and that live ended and it went to yours because we're friends. And I watched it we follow each other on here, however you say that.
My relationship with Christianity is like, it's a soft touch these days.
Yeah.
I've put kind of the loathing behind me.
No,
Not entirely behind me. The sign I've got is "Merry Solstice, you thieving Christian bastards." But like I've come to like. Well, I just feel like it got taken away a lot, right? And it got taken into this place where it's like full consumerism, full guilt. You got the snitch on the shelf. Like I understand that there are some values to it, but like when it's fully packaged, it just drives me crazy. Christmas fully wrapped is like I can't even really watch Elf. Like I have seen Elf, but like unlike everyone else, I was like, oh God, when is he gonna go fall in the glacier?
I had trouble when the live that I watched. First of all, I was driving, so I couldn't really watch what you were working on very closely. But I also couldn't figure out even what it was. It was like a box with 8 compartments or something, and I couldn't tell if they were like drawers or if there was lights inside of them. Or
So it's a fidget. I mean, I'd show you if you want, but I can do it on the live. So you know what a slide carousel is? Like a slide projector slides.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like like donut shaped thing that you put the slides in.
Yep.
Yeah,
So then there's slides, right?
yeah.
And I was at this artist thrift store, and like materials exchange place in Denver, and they had just this box of Italian masters and impressionists paintings, and so I made a bunch of these like it's been evolving. I made one that's kind of a lamp and one that's an 8-sided lamp, but the newest ones I've been building are these little triangle ones.
I wonder if I can do that. Does that work? I think is anyone else's audio kind of bad?
I can hear everybody.
So
Yeah,
can I.
mine's making all sorts of sounds. I don't know why.
What's that thing?
Yeah, that's what that's
Oh, that's the thing he was talking about. Okay.
Yeah, that's what he makes. But the one that you were making when I watched you was like a shoebox shape, or maybe that was it. And I was just looking at. Oh yeah, I think it was something like that. But it was darker. It was like a black shoebox shaped. I don't know how to describe it. That's awesome.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the one. That was the one that you were working on when I watched your live. You were working on that project. That's so cool. And those are slides? Oh, you're muted, I think.
You're muted.
Yeah, they're old slides that got retired from a college. So I've been like peeling off the different stickers on them, and some of them are like photos of a painting from 1960, with like somebody's finger in it, or like there's a bunch, like some of these are the same painting but like a different shot, or like from a different museum. And so it's all of these like just different.
But they're random. They're kind of random, huh? They're not tied to you personally. The pictures, or like they're not of you. That's pretty cool.
Here's the Van Gogh one I made. It's really pretty.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with them?
You know, I was trying to sell them, make some art, make some shades, make some fidgets.
That's
I'm
cool.
really proud of these like new hexagonal ones because they stack into little cups, and then they're also really good fidgets.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to get my daughter to. She draws. I'm trying to get her to get outside of her comfort zone, which is anime. And I'm trying to get her to draw more things and trying to get her to think about her future a little bit. I mean, she's really that good. I'm like, man, with some focus, man, we can get you going. This is the kind of stuff she needs to see.
It's standing on this triangle. See if I have.
Did we lose the other guy, Brandy?
I think we did.
Oh, I just didn't even say thank you for the free lesson.
Oh Lord, hush.
I feel like that's the least you can do is like thanks for the insight. That's cool.
So it's like
Are those all
strong enough
glued?
to
Are those all
stack
glued
the-
together?
No glue.
Cool.
Tape only. I used aluminum tape. And like, so when they rest on the triangle, they get real strong and there's something heavy on them. Yeah. So they're really for a tiny home project. They're like a speculative.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Brandy.
Yeah.
Streak first, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I have some questions when you want to get around to that part of it.
Yeah, shoot.
Maybe it's only one question. So this week,
Put that back. Oh, sorry.
I've had
Oh, sorry.
one comment was directed at nobody, but it was at my community, right? The person who said it did not know that I was a transgender person. I'd never met them before, and I didn't tell them that part. And then the other one was directed at um, gay men in the LGBTQIA. And the one guy that directed it at the LGBTQIA in general, I guess, came up and just immediately said, God hates all you F slurs. And we were like, whoa, okay, instant drop for you. And then the other guy, we had actually been having a conversation with him. And we asked him, of course, why did you vote for Trump? Is there anything that he's doing that you don't like? And his answer to is there anything that you don't like was he needs to crack down more on these transgenders indoctrinating our children. And we said, what makes you think that that's happening? And he said, you know that God hates those transgenders. And I'm like, what?
No, you do.
So again, yeah, you do.
You
And this is why I would say that, sadly, and reconsider church. I know this is going to be a little hurtful for you, but like,
We've heard worse.
Probably
sadly, well, sadly, the cherry picking isn't a glitch.
No, it's not.
It's a feature.
It's a feature.
Because what people use the Bible for, not to read in its entirety or to understand it in some grand narrative, what they're looking for is confirmation bias of their own pre-existing hates and prejudices.
Yes.
And it's really good for that, sadly.
Right.
And even though like both God and the Bible kind of warn them about that, and about, like, I don't know, are there any literalists in here?
No.
Okay. Well,
I understand why you thought that this would be like offensive to me. I
well,
get
Yeah,
it,
we're
but it's
not
not.
literalists at all.
It's
but the
not.
liberal, like
Yeah.
the literalism in my mind, like, weakens the argument for God, and it certainly weakens the argument for a good God. If you take it as a narrative where, like, when you're being told this story, the obvious lesson is to don't not do what you're fucking told, which is an age as old as time, right? And not always great, but not always wrong either, right? Like, so if you take it as like a story that's an allegorical, like a morality tale, I think it's stronger than if you say this shit literally happened.
The problem that I have with those statements, and that's not the first time that I've heard those kind of statements. It just they've happened very recently in the last couple of days, and when when the person, because usually they make a blanket statement about all LGBTQ, right? But when they make it where they're pinpointing um, my community, that one stings a little bit, and I literally sat back and I thought to myself, wait a minute, doesn't the Bible say that God loves everybody? Because I thought that's what I read. And so if that's what it says, then why do these people think that he hates anybody?
Because they're bigoted. That's it. Is bigotry, and then they find the justification that they need. Because the thing about it is that you're supposed to be searching the scriptures for liberation. That's what you're supposed to be searching the scriptures for. And if you're not searching the scriptures for liberation, that means that you searching for justification. If you're not looking to set people free, then what you reading it for?
Oh, Brandy.
That's the whole thing, Brandy. I don't think they're reading it at all.
No, they're not. These people do not know anything about the Bible. I'm telling you, they don't.
You
I
know,
don't think every last one of them.
Do you think it's
so
worthwhile to invite people to read?
Yes, listen.
as long as they're adults, I don't think you should be sharing it with children.
Listen.
No,
I be getting them together. I get my own people together.
when we started this, there was three parts to it. Brandy, you may already know this, but all I knew when I started the church was we'll just read a book of the Bible, because I did all the homework. All I do is talk to people. So over the course of years, I asked Christians, "Do you read your Bible?" And they don't. You're right. You are all very correct. I asked 127 church-going Christians if they read their Bible with any degree of regularity, and 5 of them said yes. 5 out of 127. So the reason that I think that matters is because when they try to pitch a Jesus, an apathetic Jesus, or they try to say empathy is toxic or sinful, people buy it because they've never read.
They've never read. I
And I
mean,
think if you read Jesus, it's hard to not see his empathy. And so I'm kind of like, well, if I could just get people to read, so all we do is read a book of the Bible, and it's not children, it's just on here, and it's anybody that wants to. And I think most people probably think I'm some Christian nationalist when they scroll by and be like, let's read a book of the Bible together and pray for each other and do something to help the poor. That's it. But
they're not. They think about it. If they're not even reading like on a casual level, you know they don't know nothing about the Bible. They don't know nothing about it.
do you think it's like dangerous in any way to have people read it
Yes.
without understanding what they're reading?
Yes, it is extremely dangerous. Like people are literally dying.
Unaliving, right?
Unaliving. I'm sorry. They're
No.
unaliving We love TikTok shop.
We love TikTok shop.
Um, I mean, people are unaliving themselves, and then when you ask them, like, what is the fruit of your doctrines, they get really offended. Like, they're like, what do you mean? You mean, what do you mean? What do I mean? When you put those scriptures together, what's the fruit of it? They're like, oh, that's not what the Bible means is fruit. That's a lie. Because in order for you to produce fruit, it means you have to live out what you believe. Your life is a theology. So whatever you're living out, it's going to have consequences. And the consequences, that's the reason why they don't want intersectionality. That's why they don't want to study critical race theory. That's why they don't want to, that's why they're trying to get rid of colleges and humanities studies. And that's why they don't want to read data, because it's telling the story. It's telling it. It's telling you what you're doing is wrong. And then they sit up there and they say, oh, well, all these scholars, they're just bitter atheists and yada, 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 yada. Or maybe they studied and came to their own conclusions. Maybe they were willing to have agency, which you're denying people by not telling them what the Bible is. It's uninformed consent of faith. I was uninformed.
And unconsenting.
Yes, and like that took me a while to get over. Like I was like, I just could not believe that all of this. And I went to a Southern Baptist Christian school. I took Old Testament, New Testament, and other courses. This stuff that I'm learning, didn't know nothing about it. That's on purpose. And it's wrong. It is very wrong.
Randy, why do you think the Greeks needed a body?
Because of their categories. So in Greek philosophy, it's very binary thinking. Okay. So like when Paul is talking about the resurrection in Acts 17, they're like, what is he talking about? Because to them, it wasn't rational. You see what I'm saying? Like, what is he talking about resurrection? Number one, and they basically said like he was I forgot what they called him, a seed picker or something to that effect. But basically they were like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like they made fun of him because once again, the resurrection in Hebrew thought is not the same to the Greeks. The Greeks was like, no, we want a body. Jewish people didn't care about a body because they believed that Jesus was nefesh. His spirit, like in Jewish thought, you are a whole soul. Your body, your mind, everything about you is a whole soul. So when Jesus died, okay, God vindicates him in death through his breath. And so when Jesus dies and his breath goes back to God, the way that his breath is remembered in community is through the people. That is the resurrection. Every time someone chooses the way and chooses to be anti-empire, they resurrect Jesus's breath. That's what is called the Holy Spirit. That's what that is. You have to think about it in Hebrew categories, and the Greeks didn't know. But an African bishop tried to warn them. I always forget say his name wrong. Tertullian, something like that.
Yeah.
Big T, Bishop T.
Mm-hmm.
He was an African bishop, and he literally said, what does Athens have to do with Jerusalem? He knew that they were colonizing the text, and nobody listened. And now we're sitting here. Yeah. The binaries are
Oh, I was
maxed
telling
out.
later. I heard it pronounced Tertullian, but I don't know if
Tertullian.
that Tertullian. That's how I always heard it. But
I'm gonna
yeah,
call him Bishop T.
I like that better. I like that better. I wanted to hear also about your plan for January 30th. Like
Oh,
where you're at in that process and what the is it all on this is this the topic? Like Greek metaphysics versus
so my top. So
Thanks for
it's
having me.
oh, Joe, thanks for coming.
sorry, Chose.
Thanks for being here.
Um. So the topic actually is religious trauma, and so I'm going to talk about um how deconstruction, um how all of that plays a part in the deconstruction work that people have to do, and what decolonizing the faith means in terms of deconstruction, and how we can help people rebuild their faith without the Greek metaphysics. That's essentially what it's going to be about.
Mm.
And I'm like, I wrote the last chapter. The last chapter's done. I took the preface from my Substack. Um, I have a Substack post where I was talking about negotiating, and I had actually saw the patterns in June, but I hadn't fleshed them out. And so I'm going to put that as the preface of my book. And then I've completed chapter 1 and 2. The chapter 2 is about the Greek metaphysics.
How many chapters will there be? You have 1, 2, and the last one done?
Um, I have the last one done because the reason why I wrote it, the why it's the last book, because it's also the first book, if you catch what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you.
So I I understand who Jesus is, so I made that the last chapter, so people can understand him within his context. And then the rest of the book is about metaphysics. It's about church history. It's about one chapter is going to be completely dedicated to Augustine, um, because he totally. I don't even know why they let Augustine do anything. He couldn't read Greek, and that was what it was written. And then he butchered the Latin. I don't understand why people are like, yeah, Augustine is the GOAT. He's not the GOAT.
It just sounds like a mumbling idiot.
It's like he totally got like he made up original sin. He made it up. That's not Jewish people don't believe in that. They don't. But that's the thing. That's the main thing about my thesis. The Jewish people didn't believe none of this. That's why everybody jacked up. Y'all jacked up because you don't know what you're reading. Like there's so many mental health issues in the church. It's because the Greeks believed that the body and the spirit were separate. You can do whatever to the body because the soul is going on. My goodness.
Mm.
It's a lot. Like
And do you know how many books there will be? You said you have basically 1 and 2 done. Of how many, or you don't know?
I'm thinking I might have 10 chapters after it's all said and done. Because I have to flesh out some methodologies that I have. I have to talk about Orthodox. I have to talk about Calvinism. I have to break down the exegesis for all of that. So, I mean, most of this stuff is already done because I've been doing it along the way. It's just putting it together in a book. And then the thesis is I'm supposed to submit it by the end of January. So, I mean, technically I could write the thesis today and submit it in, but I want to make sure that all my pieces are together just in case I get a phone call before then. I want to be able to explain everything.
And how does this process work? There could be 10 of you submitting something, or 100, or who knows?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't. The thing about it is that I don't even know. Like I did a study for one of the universities. They were asking about people's about their experiences with deconstruction. So there are studies being done right now about deconstruction. So I don't know who's going to submit. I know that the event is going to be at Harvard. Dan McClellan was the one that posted about it. And then I was like, I think I can get it done in a month. So, because everything I need is already in the tool. So I just have to synthesize my thoughts. Because I've been doing a year's worth of work and all of it is in memory.
And you think you can get it done in a month? That's kind of incredible to me.
I mean, even if the book itself is not done, at least the arguments are there. Does that make sense? Like
Absolutely.
I can submit it. I could just submit what I have as essays, and then while I try to find a book person, and then I can sell my own book if I want. And I've created a metaphysics atlas where you can see it basically looks like a line diagram, and it shows you the differences in the metaphysics. And so that'll be part of my presentation too. So I'm excited about it. I'm a little
That's
nervous.
awesome.
I'm a little nervous.
Oh, I would imagine I would be nervous. I would be very nervous if I were you, but I hope you know you got this. I have all the confidence in you. I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to see what happens. But I also I almost texted you the other day. I think you two are the only real life phone numbers I have from this app. But I almost texted you, Brandy, to say did you mention months ago that you were thinking of going live? Because I thought I remember you already answered the question. You told me earlier that you had that thought.
Yeah, I mean, like I made a few like prompts for like the back, that kind of thing. And then I just my thing is that I hate debating people. Like because I know so much, I feel like it's so futile. Like
Yeah, I loved the 90-second explanations you gave that guy that was in here at the beginning.
I
It
was
just
trying to,
it was
I think
gold. It was gold. I don't know if I think he was like, I need to very quickly get you into a box that makes sense to me. And
right.
it wasn't happening, and so it was like I can't. So like he always just kept asking definitive questions, right? Are you this? Are you that? Like I need to figure you out so
Right.
that I can know what I'm up against, type of thing. And once he realized that wasn't going to happen, I think that's my assessment. He's just like, yeah, they're being evasive, or she's not being giving me clear answers.
I mean, the thing about it is I am giving you clear answers. You just want binaries that I'm not willing to
Exactly.
give you.
That's
That's and that's the thing is that part of decolonizing your faith is realizing how much of those Greek metaphysics are still in you, and shedding that binary thinking is very. I'm not saying that there aren't things that are black and white, or you know the Bible is about nuance, and it's in the way that Genesis is set up through the mirrorism and the parallels and everything else. Like they're trying to push you to not think that way. They want you to um, when it says male and female, he created them. That's a mirrorism. That means that male and female and everything in between, he created. He leaves the Bible leaves room for nuance. They're trying to get people away from that binary thinking, but they think, oh no, God only created male and female. No, you're reading it wrong. That's not. And then God actually created humankind first, then he put humankind to sleep, then he pulled woman out, and then boom, there's Adam. It's like they don't understand. They don't understand the ordering. They don't understand. It's I don't know. Like atheists, they don't like me either. I got one guy. He he gets so frustrated with me.
That's not the Gen X dude that we
Oh
talked
yeah,
about, is it?
he's my favorite.
I really like him. I've
Him
had
and the apostate guy.
Yeah, he was one of the first interactions I had on Threads. I told you before, I started on Instagram, and I was like, I'm going to keep this project on Instagram because it took me a month to figure out how to. My brain doesn't work like yours. So to figure out how to like make a video and add the captions and put the hashtags on and crop it and clip it and put it up, it took me like hours at the beginning. It was so time consuming. And then I kind of got the hang of it. I was like, all right, when I need to do a video, I could knock it out in kind of half an hour from making the video, and then getting it uploaded. And then a friend of mine was like, if you want to expand your reach, you need to put it on the other social media platforms. And I was like, oh man, what a nightmare. So that took me like a week.
I
It
want
was
to do all
awful. It was awful. So all this stuff is on like YouTube, and now I post it on there, even though nobody pays attention to it on X or whatever, but I used to post it on there too. And now I'm kind of down to Instagram and here. But
I like TikTok. I mean, I like Threads.
that's where I met Gen X, and I really liked him. I thought you two would get along well.
Oh yeah, we do. I like apostate guy. I've actually listened to the Bible guy a few times. Um, he said something the other day that I didn't agree with. I can't remember what it was. Um, oh, he was talking about Jesus calling um calling a woman the B word, calling her a dog, and I was like, man, I said, you need to read that through a liberation lens. You're not understanding the conversation that's being had. Um, that some of the texts, some of the atheists want to be too literal, but they don't understand the anthropology also that the Christians don't understand. And then a lot of it, because of how the Bible's supposed to be read, is supposed to be read through a liberation lens. They want to read it literally, and they're not supposed to. It's supposed to be read in a certain type of way.
We were raised to
Hey,
read
Junior.
a literal
Welcome back,
lens.
Junior.
How you doing? Yeah,
Welcome
I
back.
love you guys.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't want to be the asshole in the conversation, but what I don't understand is, yes, there's a literal conversation, especially for Catholicism and a minority, and the Prost. I hate that word, but so what can you tell me about Protestantism? Excuse me for not getting the end in, but what do you find attractive about it?
Nothing.
Yeah. No,
Nothing.
Brandy, yeah.
That was a good answer.
So I'm not Catholic. I'm not Protestant. I'm not Orthodox. I'm completely away from that world. I don't even. I don't believe in doctrines. I don't believe in the Greek worldview of the Bible. I have a historical critical analysis of the Bible. I believe that Calvinism is empire theology, literally.
How so?
So So the way that it is, the way that they exegete the text, okay, what they do is that they say these are a sequence of verses based off what we have derived from the Greeks. What the Greeks did was they took their Greek metaphysics and they applied them to the Hebrew text.
That's a little bit harsh, but
No,
sure.
it's not harsh. It's just a historical fact. And because they didn't understand the Hebrew worldview, what they did was they applied their worldview to the Bible, and the way that the Jewish people thought and the way the Greek people thought was completely different. Now, the Greek metaphysics, what type of
Absolutely believe in everything you just said. Yes, ma'am.
okay. So let me ask you this question. The philosophy of Rome, what kind of empire did it create?
Oh, God. Well, a destructive one
Destructive.
would be a empathetic way of describing it, I guess.
Teacher, I know the answer. I know the answer,
Yeah,
teacher.
right. But they constructed a huge empire, and many historians will say beyond many people. But the Mesopotamian Empire, it's like, well, it's at least a close second,
Right.
as far as what they ruled. But as far as their ideology, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I had to go into the history thing.
No, it's okay. No, I don't mind. Yes. So the thing about it is that those concepts, that philosophical, whatever they are, those are the metaphysics that have not that is also found in other empires as well. Pharaoh.
Well, ma'am, it's all about control of the
Yes.
population.
Yes, it is. It is. And that's why I say that Calvinism is empire theology, is because the Greek metaphysics are driving the train.
Well, all right, ma'am.
With a
You
little
sound
bit of
very,
Jesus. With a little bit of Jesus on top.
Can I get just one question in? You
Sure.
sound intelligent as hell.
Thank you. I appreciate
All right.
that.
Who was the first person to develop the printing press?
What is the guy's name? Starts with a G.
Oh yeah.
You got that down?
Gutenberg.
Gutenberg.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I get
Well, they have the
I paid
Gutenberg
attention
Bible.
in social studies.
Yeah, I get like
sir,
1% of
you
that.
had it down as well.
You got
Listen,
Yeah,
this one
gave me-
actually taught you
not many
stuff in
people
social
actually
studies.
know. Not many people know how Protestantism was born.
Right.
So I thank both of you for being educated enough to have an answer for that. That's really awesome. I super awesome.
I've been studying my butt off.
I like that he kind of thanked
Good,
all of
you
us.
should.
I like that he kind of thanked all of us for having a good answer for that.
Gutenberg. Listen, this was when they actually used to teach
was
you things in social studies, right?
Yep.
Well, I
I
was a
needed
mass communications major too, so
I needed
Oh,
the G to even get started because my brain was like drawing a blank and I was like, you were like G.
Yeah,
and
mine
as soon as you
too.
gave me the-
I feel you on that
Yep,
one.
and I had the G as well. And
Yeah,
then it
and I
hit
got
me,
to-
and I was like,
First I was
yeah,
like,
because
what?
of the Gutenberg Bible.
The first thing that came out of my mind was
No,
Gutenberg,
it's
and then I was
not
like
the Bible. It's the press.
Gutenheimer, and I was like, that's not right.
that sounds about German.
Yeah. Brandy, and Streak and Junior. I don't know if anyone else will come. I really liked Ian, his perspective.
Oh yeah, I hope he comes tonight.
I know I thought that was awesome because he was there for a bit and then left and then came back and was just like, I just want to listen. And I I had so much admiration for that. I'm just like, good. That's a beautiful thing. Like that you recognized. I'm just going to come back and listen. I was like, good.
I know.
Yeah.
Hold on. I got so
That is brilliant.
Junior,
I mean, how else do you
Junior,
learn? I mean, you
Junior,
can argue. I mean,
Junior.
I'm trying to get in a point of I'm agreeing with
Oh my God.
Yeah,
the person
Junior, did you
talking
have some
that
drinkies tonight?
I think so.
some smokies.
Some
Ain't nothing
smokies.
okay. I don't mind a little smokies.
No, no judgment. No judgment by any
None
means. But
whatsoever.
yeah. Our
I
conversation
don't
with
have to
Ian.
work tomorrow, so
Good.
why
And
not?
enjoy the night. Enjoy the night. But you can hang out as long as you'd like. Brandy. And Streak with the conversation with
Thank
Ian
you,
last
sir.
week was fun. He was here and then he came back kind of just
Yeah.
to listen, and I was just like, oh, I love that. And
Yeah, he
then
was kind of amazing, wasn't he?
and then he suggested, like, we had a brief conversation about what I should put in the orange in the writing there, and he was like, put that it's a church for people that left church, and then it took me back 2.5 months because that's what it started with.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? Like, I had that at the beginning, and I think it was Earth that was just like, it sounds weird. You said the word church twice and call it something different. And so I sort of just nixed the plan. And I don't know if there's a proper background to have. I don't know how much it matters. But I did wonder, because there's a couple nights that we went later, which I don't mind doing. And you guys know that I don't expect you to stay the whole time if you got to be up early the next day or something. But then I wondered, because Brandy mentioned going live, and I'm sure when you do go live, whenever you plan to do that, it'll be with backgrounds that are about these topics.
Yes.
And I think that's perfect. But if we're ever having a conversation that you're enjoying and I'm done, or I need to go to bed, then you can certainly, like, I don't know, go live then, and we'll switch over to you if you wanted, but you don't ever have to.
You go to bed, I go to bed, because
Good.
I got kids. I got to get up with it anymore.
I love it.
Right. But
There was one
being
Wednesday night.
very, very gentlemanly and saying, continue the topic.
Yes, he is. He's being.
Yeah, I don't want
Maybe.
to. Well, no, there was times that it was a good conversation, and I was just like, it's a shame that it's the ball is in my court to put an end to this conversation, if that makes sense.
I mean, but we go at it for a while though, so it's fine to me. Like, if I do it, it'll probably be like on a Friday night when I know, like, the girls are down and I don't have to worry about anything. And then also too, like, so my husband, he has to be up at like 4 a.m. And so, I still got to be a wife,
Mm-hmm.
So I try to be respectful of him, like, being in the bed. But on Fridays, he doesn't work at all. So he takes naps during the day, and he likes to play, like, video games till like 2 o'clock in the morning. So, like, I know that would be a good time for me to do it.
Because he doesn't work Saturday.
Sometimes he does. It just depends.
Yeah, but
but
so
for
you
the
would
most
go
part,
you would go Friday night.
I probably would do a Friday or a Sunday evening. We have church on Saturdays, so I don't do anything on Sundays. But I'm at a point where I don't even know how much longer I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Brandy, what denomination are you a part of?
So
My apologies. It sounds like you're atheist, but
no, we just had that conversation. So I actually came up and I
Oh,
came up.
Brandy.
It's okay. I don't mind sharing.
no.
I actually got
She
saved.
is.
I got saved in a Southern Baptist church. I left there because I went to a Southern Baptist school. I left there because I couldn't be black. And then I
Really
went.
at a Southern Baptist church or
No,
school?
it was at a
excuse me?
school. It was at a school. I was the president
You
of
couldn't
our.
be black?
So I was president of our. It was called Black Student Fellowship, and then for some reason that year, they decided they wanted to change it to Brothers and Sisters Fellowship because they thought black would be too I guess, dividing. And then like we would,
Bullshit.
right,
That
exactly.
they can.
And we would be, when we got together, we would be black. We would do black things. I mean, things that were
What? No, no,
culturally
no. What?
specific to us.
Yeah. What are black things?
Like, just like dancing, music, how we
It's the same as
talk.
a black job.
Like, just, we weren't allowed to express ourselves culturally without being policed. There, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a brilliant way to say it. But
Yes.
Interesting.
the young lady that just spoke, it's like I have worked with a black person in every job I've ever worked, whether
Okay,
it's
so he doesn't know I was being
financial
facetious,
or
does he?
Oh,
it's
no,
high
he doesn't know
school.
you were being sarcastic. It's okay.
I got the joke. It was a joke, Junior.
Yeah, it was a joke. She was being funny.
Yeah. 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 That's cool. I get it.
But let me finish explaining, Junior. So I left there and I became Pentecostal. I started going to a Pentecostal church. That's where I started learning how to read like contextually. But at the same time, like
And
I was new.
and Brandy,
Okay,
can I ask? I'm gonna ask you several questions
it's okay.
through the journey of your life.
Hmm.
So, why did you choose Pentecostal? Was
Well,
it family related or?
no, absolutely. So I started attending there because they had an awesome outreach program. They would essentially go into communities and they would do things for the kids and for the adults. We would bus kids in. I mean, we would buy them presents. I mean, all kind of stuff. Like it was awesome. I loved it. I was all about the outreach and stuff. And then
So it was about taking care of the community. It
yes,
sounds like.
yes, that's why I went.
Yeah.
And then also it's my first time really being introduced to like word of faith preaching, name it and claim it, all that kind of stuff. And Apostle Ron,
Wait,
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
ma'am, I apologize again. What is word of faith preaching? I'm
So
not familiar with that term.
it's basically prosperity teaching. So it's you have whatever you say. There's life and death in the power of your tongue. Your confession is what your reality becomes. It's if you want to, basically, if you want to be rich, you just you aim yourself in that direction. You talk about what you want. You give all kind of sorts of money in hopes that God will bless you, that kind of thing.
It sounds very dangerous.
Yes, in hindsight, now that I think about it, I was actually at a Seven Mountain Mandate church and I didn't know it.
Oh, wow.
I don't even know what that is. My apologies, ma'am.
It's okay. So basically, what they think is they think that there are seven mountains that Christians are supposed to conquer: culture, schools, government. I can't think of all the other ones. And basically, like at the church that I was at, they would have what they called confession time before church started. And if you just have to be there to understand what I'm like. When you first walk in, the air conditioning is pumped on high. So it's almost like you feel the spirit.
The fakeness of it.
Yes.
Right.
And like
Right.
the music.
That is why I continue these discussions. I just don't
Mhm.
understand certain aspects of how religions change. So thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate your honesty with this.
no problem. So I left there after I realized that the pastor was driving Lamborghinis, but he
Mhm.
discontinued the outreach program. He sold the buses. He shut down the outreach, but he's driving Lamborghinis. He's buying multi-million-dollar houses. And I literally said to myself, I said, the neighborhoods that we were going in, you literally could have bought them 5 times over, flipped them, and turned them into affordable housing. Like
Yes, ma'am.
he was bringing in millions of dollars.
And doing nothing for the community. Yeah,
I can't
I
say
get
that
it.
I can't say that he wasn't. I think in the beginning he was doing a lot, and then as he grew, it became secondary. Because what happened was Stephen Furtick, who's the pastor of, oh Lord, what's the name of his church?
Elevation.
Elevation Church in North Carolina. He showed up a crop. But the thing about it is, what you have to understand about Pentecostalism is that people travel for personalities. And Stephen Furtick being so close to redemption made Pastor Ron change up what he was doing, because at that point, a couple of other big names have moved into the area too, and so he had to keep up. And if you're in the Pentecostal
So,
world, you know
so
what I'm talking about.
manipulating the followers to
Yes, get
follow
money.
the product of his church.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I got
He
you.
is the product. Yes, Apostle Ron was the product, and he was selling himself, and he was making bukus of money. When he when Bishop T.D. Jakes acknowledged him in front of everyone, I mean, he
It gave
just,
him a boost.
yeah, yeah, it gave him a boost. He took off. You just have to understand the Pentecostal world and how it works. It's very
Yeah, they're
what's
awful people.
what's the word, Ryan, that I'm looking for? It's very
Awful.
No.
Wasn't there some kind of scandal with Bishop Jakes?
Listen, they've all had their share of scandals. Like Apostle Ron, his wife cheated on him, right? And she was like partying and doing drugs and all this other stuff. And then he had to get up in front of the whole entire church and say, "Yeah, my wife's cheated on me, but here is the deal." What happened was, all of a sudden, she goes off to this like retreat center.
Is this word through papers or word you heard through the Protestant religion?
You said what again? Say
I
that again.
hate to ask.
What did you say?
Did you hear this word that he said? It already sounds like you understand it being false, but did you hear it through papers or did you hear it through him himself?
Talking about with his wife?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it was in it was in Christian blogs, it was in the newspaper. Like it was a huge deal. Like he's been investigated multiple times for money. Like this isn't like, you just have to be in South Carolina to know.
He's
It's not like a rumor.
He's just a horrible person. It sounds like.
I mean, I even heard some of this, not in that area, but so it's not like it was a rumor, right?
No, it was not a rumor.
Right.
It was a fact. Yeah,
Oh,
it was a
no.
fact. Like
I
I'm
know.
not exaggerating or anything. So anyway, I end up leaving there, and I did end up in a church that I really loved. It was smaller. The pastor really cared about the people. He cared about your growth. He cared about you as a leader. And then a friend, he was like, "Well, can you guys come help us do a church plant?" So I went back into the evangelical world, which was the worst mistake I ever made, because I went right back to the racist stuff. And then after that, I was like, I said, at this point, I'm just kind of like theologically homeless, because I just don't even know if I believe any of this crap anymore.
Yeah, I would just say that I think that all of that experience got you to here today.
Yes,
And so in that,
I've been deconstructing since 2006.
I know. And so as horrible of a decision as it was to return to that denomination, I'm grateful for the whole path that got you here.
Yes, it was a huge path. Yeah.
So
All over.
what type of church do you attend now, Brandy?
So now I attend a non-denominational church.
Hmm.
It's he don't say it's black, but it's black. Um, And the only reason why I haven't left and went to the Unitarian church is because I want to be around my people right now because of the political climate. I'm not saying that because the Unitarian church they are very politically active. The pastor, he is so nice. He actually met with me when I was going through Dark Night of the Soul. He met with me and he was so nice. And, he told me about his church and what they do there. There's just something about being around my own people right now that I just feel comfortable. And
Is
plus
that the UU church you're talking about? The Universalist
yes, yes.
Unitarian? I
Yeah,
heard really good things about that church.
yeah. Oh man, the pastor there, he is so nice. I mean, I could tell like he really cared for women in his church. Like he didn't talk down to me. Like I don't know. Maybe I might get there because I'm getting there with my own pastor, but I don't know. There's something about just being in the culture with my own people, and I don't know. Um, I feel like things are going to get worse before they get better, and I want to be around my people.
Yeah, I get that.
I can't explain it, but at the same time, I'm like, man, how much longer am I gonna put up with bad theology? That's like not everything he says is wrong, It's just I don't believe in none of that suffering teaching anymore. I don't believe original sin. Um, a lot of that stuff I don't believe in. Well, I don't believe in any more doctrine. So let's just say that. I'm just in a weird place.
I struggled with like when we started this church to come up with like a statement of faith or like what do we believe when people ask, because I don't care about them either. I'm like, do I need to like decide like this is where we stand on the Eucharist and this is where we stand on baptism and this is where we stand, like I don't care, like none of that. We're not going to be.
I'm gonna
This is just for everybody. Anybody that would need it. I
I'm gonna
like
send you
when.
the symbolism, Ryan. I'm gonna send you the symbolism, and I'm gonna let you mull over it.
Yeah,
I
I look
think
forward to it.
it'll change your perspective immensely.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
that I'm
still.
trying to convert you or anything.
No. I think I mean, I think you're still. I'm still stuck in the binary. Probably. Like I just need to get categories. But I sort of concluded, well, let's just make it for everybody. Anybody that wants to come. And I said at the beginning, I'm like, I think atheists may like it and agnostics. I think, yeah,
I mean,
we'll see.
we've had people and they've been comfortable. I wish Earth would come back. I miss my buddy, man.
I know, me too. I messaged him like I don't know, a week or two ago. He gave a really nice, he did respond, which was great. He's just like, yeah, just kind of going through it, but still thinks of us as well or something like that. Like, miss you guys, but it's,
Right.
yeah, going through it, I think is what he said. So,
I think a lot of people don't know what to do with us.
yeah, that's fair.
we're a little
That binary thinking runs deep, man.
it's hard.
I mean, we saw it. We saw it an hour ago. Just like
Right.
like somebody trying to get you in a category, so we
Right.
can kind of move forward. And you didn't
Right.
play ball at all. You did not play ball, Brandy.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. Because once you see the doctrines for what they are, like it's very hard to associate yourself, denominationally. Like I just don't, like how about this? I respect the liturgy of it. I respect the Eucharist and all of that, and I respect expressions of faith. I just don't agree with the doctrines or the superstitions or that kind of stuff. Like prayer is kind of weird for me now. Like I don't know, like sitting down and shamalama mosha is not.
when you were stuck on trying to explain Pentecostals, you're like, Pentecostals are, and then you asked me to fill in the blank, and I was like, my mind already went to how complicated they make my life, which sounds so selfish. But to be a hospice chaplain and go in to see people that are certain they're going to be healed
Oh yeah, for sure.
makes my job so unnecessarily challenging.
I understand
Like
because
my
they're like, we don't want you in here if you don't have faith.
yes, and so join us in praying, if and only if you will pray with 100% certainty that all this cancer is going to be gone tomorrow or whatever it is.
And you're like, I'm trying to help your family member go on to glory in a healthy way.
Yeah.
So let me ask you what you think about this statement. Because a lot of times in lives, people will say, well, are you a Christian? And my answer has been for the past 5 years, I used to be, but I'm not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear on everything that is holy, ice cream, my grandmother, whatever you want to choose. Um, the answer to that always is, well, then you never were a Christian. You didn't believe hard enough.
That's foolishness.
And I'm like, but I what? Yeah, yes, I was. And like, I'm just because I'm riding the fence right now and I don't know exactly where I fall, but so I'm not comfortable saying flat out that, yes, I'm a Christian. What? What?
That's that binary thinking. You can't. You can only be one or the other. You can't be in between. You can't be. You got to have the certainty. They want you to be certain, and they don't have a concept in their minds that certainty doesn't have to be an option.
I'm certain that I'm not sure.
And that's okay. That is okay.
Okay. Yep.
It's
And
it's in the Bible.
I think some of it comes down to semantics too. Like I know you hear your answer. I think Brandy was, I am a disciple of Christ, and I know
Yes.
in the past you have said, I follow the ethics of Jesus,
Yes.
and those are both fantastic. And I know you and Brandy, you and I have talked about this once before, but I say Christian, but out of like, I don't know.
No, you told me you said
Out of
you
defiance, out of
yeah, you said you don't want to give it up.
stubbornness.
Yeah, I get it. And and here's the thing. I'm okay with that. Like I know the term is never going to go away. I know that the label is never going to go away. I don't expect it to. I understand what's attached to it. Just for me, based off my study, I just don't feel comfortable as an African American.
Yeah. I would, that was an awesome conversation.
You know, and
I'll remember that a long time. It was late.
I think
I was in the hotel with my kids.
yep, you were.
I think being a disciple of Christ is a good thing to be. Why do
Right.
you have to attach the word Christian to that? Because I still follow for the most part, like all of the things I still try to live the way I think Jesus would want me to, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Um, but because I got so uncomfortable with the church,
Yeah.
I gave that up, and when I gave that up, it just didn't feel right to go, oh yeah, I'm a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think if somebody asked me, what religion are you? I would say like, I am a Christian. And if there was any kind of follow up, like what denomination are you? Are you whatever? My answer would be, I am a disciple of Christ. I'm a follower of Jesus's ethics. So it would be the same next step, I think. Although we may have different beliefs on something or other. I mean, I'm learning so much. I think we all are. But I think I would like to have that first. Let me explain what, like,
Right.
I want them to ask, like, clarify what that means. I'm like, I'm glad you asked. It means I follow, like, I think we should care for the poor and love each other.
Right.
And,
Oh, Ryan, hold. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I don't know why this just popped in my head.
oh, that's all
Did
right.
you know? Did you know that Jim's mom passed away?
Yes.
Okay.
I was, on that live a little bit ago. So I know Streak probably knows some of the background, but the Princess was one of the first people I met on here. I know I've said that a million times,
Oh,
but
you said Princess's mom?
no, not Princesses.
Oh,
No,
Princess
Jim.
Princess would host a live, and there was like the same 3 or 4 people, like kind of regulars, but there's always sometimes there's 100 people in there, but they had kind of a core of the same
Oh, okay,
people.
okay.
And it was one of the kind of core people in Princess's world. When I first went into Princess's live, the topic of conversation was this person whose mom was in poor health. So, do we have somebody somewhere? So anyway, yeah, I did get wind of, I did hear that, and I stopped in just to offer some condolences. She's also a grief. I'm not this. She is a grief counselor, or has spent many years as like a professional grief counselor. So she is. There's nothing that I have as far as like knowledge about grief that I can offer her. All I have is that I'm kind of in the same boat, but a year ahead of her, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So
So
do you have like specific like psychology training or
I imagine she does.
okay.
Um,
I met
my-
you, Ryan. I met you. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
mine is not. No, I'm not a professional grief bereavement counselor.
Okay. You're just specific in your field.
Yeah. So when there is complicated grief that we have people that I would refer to that
Okay.
are professionals in that field.
Got it.
A lot of folks that lose a loved one cope kind of within normal limits, which sounds like you can
No, I know what you mean.
categorize, but they don't really need necessarily, like, my dad is obviously in that boat, but he's in an okay place, and he's very like emotionally mature, so he's not opposed to going if he needed to. But between my brothers and me and our families, like, he's getting the support that he needs,
Right.
and that happens with probably 9 out of 10 families. Like, they are not in need of maybe they are, but they don't have access to it. I don't know, but they are able to get through this without going to a professional counselor.
I understand. They understand like this is like natural process.
Yeah, I mean the majority of the folks I care for are in their 90s.
Right.
When the job gets complicated, when you have a 20-year-old, that's when it's and that's when it gets.
I can imagine.
And when you have a 20-year-old and parents that are my age, or that are going through it, I don't try to be a professional counselor for them. I say, here are some great resources, or talk. We have a guy that does. He's got a PhD that does grief and bereavement counseling that we use all the time in those type of situations. But
I
end up doing.
Pastors had that kind of. Like, there's so many pastors out here who should not be counseling anybody.
Yeah.
Like, not in depth. Like, there's so many things that people are going through, and these pastors just be out here, oh, just pray about it. No, that girl need to go to therapy. That girl needs a psychiatrist. There's so many people out here that just because you have a collar, you think that you can do a professional job, and it's wounding people.
Yeah, I think in Oklahoma, being a pastor qualifies you to do like an outrageous amount of stuff.
Oh Lord.
I know, it's horrifying. And not only that, like you don't really need anything to be a pastor.
Listen, at this rate, we need people going to school. I
Yeah.
need to see your seminary hours. I need to see what you study. We need some basic things before you can even call yourself a pastor. Before you can even open up a church, we need to know like what's going on because there's a lot of tomfoolery out here.
You are not kidding. I work where I work is there's 4 of us. There's 4 chaplains, and I don't say this in an arrogant way, but I'm the only one that has a degree.
I know
And I'm trying to throw shade. It was required at where I was in Chicago. Like they wouldn't hire a chaplain without an MDiv. That was one of the 5 like job requirements to do the job in Chicago. But it was a huge corporation and very different type of hospice chaplain. Even though it was the same job, it was way different. And here is like a small faith-based, family-owned, nonprofit hospice is where I work in Tulsa, and it's just a totally different world than what I was doing in Chicago. And I didn't have a lot of the Pentecostal challenge in Chicago, but here at any given moment, I have at least one family where I can't talk about end of life stuff because it's not happening. There's going to be a miraculous healing.
At 90.
Yep.
Lazarus is going to rise.
And I think that's and my job is to help prepare people. And how can you prepare people for something that you can't even mention the thing?
Oh my goodness.
It's tough. It's tough.
I will say Pentecostals are very spooky. And that even when I was a Pentecostal, I would get really irritated by some of the dumb stuff that they used to do. Like, I know Lamar had to play for somebody one time, and I was pregnant with, which child was I pregnant with? Victoria.
How many do you have? Sorry, sidebar.
I've had 3 pregnancies, 2 live births. So I was pregnant with Victoria, and the guy walks up to me, and he was like, the Lord told me that it's going to be a boy. I had already knew the sex for months. Listen, my husband was standing right there. His look on his face was like, Brandy, don't do it. I looked at that man. I said, it's a boy. And I walked right out the thing. My husband was like, thank God she ain't show out.
I went into, I'm assuming
That's incredible.
that the people in this live are Pentecostal because I don't know. But she goes by a really weird name. She either wears a plain cowboy hat or a the bad kind of Southern Cross, the flag, what I'm talking about? The Confederate flag.
Oh, okay.
Cowboy hat. So those are the 2 things that she always has on. And she holds a guitar all the time. And she'll be talking, and then just randomly she'll go with the guitar. It's weird as hell. I'm not kidding you. And so,
Brandy, it's
so fun.
It's fantastic.
Everybody's like imitation of tongues is so funny to me.
I know.
But so I was down in her live, and I said something about abortion, and they pulled me up on the panel, and my friend was in the. Yeah, my friend was in there with me, and we were in the chat, and she was saying stuff too. And she said, "Don't do it, Streak, don't do it." And I was like, "I'll be back in a minute."
Oh Lord!
So I went up there, and she said she just was talking, asking me a couple of questions, and she goes, God just told me. And she put her hand out towards the
Oh
screen,
Lord
right?
Jesus.
Listen, her hand out towards the screen, right? And she goes, God just told me that we, and I was like, we, you got a frog in your pocket? What do you mean, we?
We.
Yeah, huh? She goes, we are going to do great things. And I just said, yeah, I don't think so.
What the heck?
Uh
This that.
huh.
Oh my gosh. This what I call those kind of people. Like they just it's it's guessing. That's what it is. She's guessing. And what she's doing is that she's hoping that you'll reveal something about yourself. And so she'll use that information to expound on her prophetic word. That's essentially what she's doing.
Yeah,
I
no, that didn't happen.
yeah. I've been I've been to so many like services like that where like people
Yeah,
lay
me too.
hands on you and
Yep,
push you on the floor and
yep,
yeah, I don't have patience for that kind of stuff anymore.
yep. Listen, if all of that stuff was true, I wouldn't have type 1 diabetes anymore. And I've had it for almost 60 years. So, I don't know.
It's just I don't know. I'm part of me is like I don't know. I respect it. Now I will say that there have been times when I've been spoken to prophetically, and I'm not saying that they were wrong. I ain't saying they were right, but at the same time, like it was like, okay, I can see that. Like, I don't know. I can't explain it. And maybe it's just me like subconsciously like agreeing. I don't know.
But you could
I
sort of like see how they got there, like a tarot card reading or something. You're like, you
yeah,
know,
I was
my
just I was
I
just thinking about a tarot
sometimes
card
I
reading.
mean the thing about it is in some ways this way I feel like to me this is just my opinion, okay? My opinion is I believe that a lot of stuff that we see in Christianity is a version of witchcraft. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, I think we talked about this before, Streaker. It's when you do spells, you know,
Yes.
you know, like you,
Mhm.
and that's what doctrines are. They're essentially putting a synthesis of scriptures together, and it creates an outcome. That's what that is. Like,
Well, and not let's not forget that the holidays that Christians celebrate and that they say are their own, they're not.
hmm
Easter and Christmas both came from paganism.
and and the thing about it is, I've seen some people do some actual like anthropology work around that. I just haven't looked at it because I've been busy doing other stuff. You know, me, I don't care about that stuff. Like for me, and I say this from my perspective based off the work that I do with my website. To me, like those holidays, like they really are really like the heart of the community. Like take Halloween for example.
Mhm.
Where is a time where the whole entire community is opening their doors
Yep.
just to bless the kids in the neighborhood with candy?
Yeah.
And the older people, they love it. I mean, they love seeing the costumes. They're like,
it was one of my mom's favorite nights, like
oh,
in retirement, not when I was young.
right.
Uh, she just would, yeah, get a whole big bowl and camp out and, oh, hey, you looking so cute. What are you dressed
Oh,
up as? She loved it.
like it's
When you were
kids.
growing up, Brian, she was too busy being a mom.
Yeah. And wait, like trying to, I mean, I remember being very apathetic. I didn't have any interest. Even when I was young, I was all about the candy. I understood the
The
assignment.
costume.
I
I'm
was
just
just
gonna
like,
throw.
I understood the assignment. I was like, just put me in whatever you want and get me out the door. There's free stuff out there to go get. I remember having like a Superman mask or something where one of the sides was unhooked, and I just kind of like held it on my face when I walked up to the door. I was just like, just give me candy. I'm here for the candy.
mean, the thing about it is that like a lot of those Christians make that stuff spooky, and I'm like, but look at what's happening. Like, look at reality. That's what I want. Like, look at reality. Just look at what's happening. You are opening your door, and you probably don't even get to know your neighbors throughout the year. And now you're meeting your neighbors. Like one house, oh my God, I love them. They do like a whole theme. They have popcorn for adults. They give away candy to the kids. They literally set up a what do you call that? A red carpet. They interviewed every kid that came up.
Aw,
And
I love that.
they're like, oh, look, it's Sonic.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Like my kids, I mean, it's just like the little things of life. I feel like Christians just, I don't know, like, what are you seeing? Because
Well, Brandy, if you want to talk about, like, you're right, they try to make Halloween scary. When I was in church, they told us straight up that it was demonic.
mm-hmm.
What type of
And
church was that?
evangelical, non-denominational evangelical.
Interesting. And
Yep.
where?
Clearwater, Florida.
Nice.
Yep.
Because I grew up kind of in, I don't know, I mean, it was a non-denominational church that I grew up in, but it had the pastor was my uncle and went to the same seminary I did, which was an evangelical school, but we all did Halloween. Like we didn't get the message up north that
No,
you need to.
God. Ryan, let me tell you some of the things
What's up,
that
Deacon?
I did based on this church's teachings that I'm sure helped to really fuck up my kid.
Oh, Lord.
So lying was a horrible thing to do, and you shouldn't lie to your children, right? So we were told that we should not tell our children that Santa Claus exists, right? They should know from the beginning that the presents are for mom and dad. There's like Santa Claus is bullshit. Like, don't believe anybody that
Boo.
tells you that. There's the same thing about Easter
Boo.
and the Tooth Fairy and all of the things, right? Now I make sure that Evelyn knows all about the Tooth Fairy, and she gets a certificate and she gets a $5 bill, and you're damn right the Tooth Fairy left that for her. And she
Right.
knows all about Santa Claus. Like, it was just really messed up.
It's
Yeah,
like take the fun out of everything.
my mom grew up in a tradition like that in Philadelphia. That was just like, I don't even know that they took the time to figure out why. It was just anything that is fun is wrong.
Yeah,
Right.
it's kind of like that.
It was, they didn't even have really rhyme or reason. Just no dances, no hangouts, no music, no ping pong, no, just anything that has that does look like fun. We need to deny ourselves of that or avoid because it's sinful.
No
Yeah.
joy, no pleasure, no nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, Deacon, what's up?
Hey,
What's
what's
up,
up, y'all? How
Deacon?
y'all doing? I am just
Hey.
absolutely loving this conversation, loving the topic, loving the host bio. Church for those who are out of church. That's
Left
so
church,
needed.
yeah.
I do deconstruction lives where I'm just like, we're friendly to everyone, even if you're like deconstructing atheism or whatever. But that's a topic that comes up a lot is people are like, well, the hardest part is that loss of community. So finding channels like this is filling such an important niche, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Hey, thanks, Deacon. I'm glad you're here. What is your channel just on your page here?
Yeah,
What the work that you do?
yeah, I just do. I don't do it as often as I'd like. I got 3 littles, so.
Hey, same.
We get it.
But yeah, so we just do like a safe place for deconstructing. Everyone's welcome as long as nobody's like abusing anybody.
Yeah.
There's instant block for things like you were never a real Christian and stuff like that, but everything else is like fair game. Do y'all remember, and I think TikTok stream might remember this most if you're from non-denominational evangelical. You remember Chick Tracks?
What was it?
Say that again.
Chick Tracks.
Chick tracks. No, that must be before me.
Oh man, well, I'm gonna need your enthusiastic consent before I tell you about Chick Tracks because your life.
Oh, please do. No, so you can't start something and not finish it. So yes, you have to tell us now.
Yeah, so you would basically buy these little pamphlets from Chick Publications, and you get like a box of them, like a whole bunch of them for just a few bucks. And the idea is you spread them around town, you leave them in the dentist waiting room, you know all that stuff. And these little publications, they were very well drawn by like a comic artist, and they made everything so terrifying. Like it was
Oh, I know
about
what you're
like
talking about. They look like oh, what is it? Harold the Purple Crown? Is that what that is?
I'm not possibly. I didn't read all of them. I read all the ones I came across, but I didn't come across all of them.
Let me see if I can
There
find
was
it.
one. It was like this is your life, and you go to heaven, and
Yep,
every
yep.
moment of your life is played on a giant TV screen in
Hmm.
front of everybody.
I do remember that one. Oh my God, I do. That's why I say, like, when people talk about,
Yes, I
um,
just Googled it.
when people talk about the fact that the LGBTQ is indoctrinating children, I always say to them, so when is the last time that you were in a grocery store or a Saturday morning just lounging on your couch and somebody walked up to you and handed you a pamphlet and invited you to their church? Because it's happened to me twice in the last month.
Oh,
And I go, so when's the last time that somebody from the LGBTQ did that? So it's not the LGBTQ that's indoctrinating, it's
yes.
the church. And I said, listen, if you want to come to the monthly meeting of the transgenders next week, you can. We're going to have tea cakes and little bottles of water. You're more than welcome to come. We'll see if we can indoctrinate you. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll make you feel really nice in this community context. We'll make you feel so loved and welcome, and you just gotta believe like we do. No sweat. Um, but there was I watched a video just a little while ago, just some TikTok video. This queen was on there, and she was like, if you teach all the opinions, or you show your kids, you teach them about all the different opinions. That's not indoctrination. Teaching them one opinion and punishing them for
Mm.
not believing it, that's indoctrination.
Oh, that's good right there.
Uh, my goodness, I could say so much. I'm over here reading these chick tracks. I'm like, what the heck?
There was one they had to take down because there was such a public outcry. It was called Lisa. The premise, it's
I'm looking it up too.
the father abused her and
Oh my God.
came to Jesus, and she had to live with him like no accountability, like you forgive him, it's under the blood sort of thing. Which, as we all know, is exactly what's going on in that context all the time,
Oh
everywhere.
my
I
gosh.
was going to say, that sounds like my mother.
One of these says it says your mother is crazy to let you go to Africa as a nurse. And the girl says, "Whoa, please, no fights, Aunt Fran. I just came to come by for a visit. Let's be friends." And she says, "Okay, it's your life. I won't say any more, but your mother will be sorry. Mark my words." What the hell does that mean?
What?
It's just terrifying. That's the goal.
What the
Oh my
hell?
gosh.
That sound racist.
Oh, they were. Oh my God.
Let me see.
Oh
What
man,
Like,
I have questions about race at some point, and if this isn't the time for that, then so be it. I tried to invite up Madam, but I was in a live listening to a live when I was driving for work. It was really interesting. It was a full panel and a lot of people viewing. I think a couple hundred or maybe more people viewing. And it was the whole panel was black. The host was black, and they were like celebrating because they got to, like, if you see in the top corner of our live, we're like in D4 or something, whatever the very bottom one is with 99% or something, where it says
okay.
popular. Maybe it only says it on mine, but it's League D4.
Oh,
I see
okay.
that.
Top 99%. Do you ever see that? Daily ranking or
Yes.
some crap that I obviously don't pay any attention to that at all. But if you get into that game, then you want to get up to D3 and then D2, and then you go into the C's and then you go into the B's, all the way to maybe A1 is at the top. And you got to get gifters and followers and viewers. And I don't know what all goes into it, but they were having a celebration because they just got A1 status.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like and I obviously I stayed in the comments section, but it was a very celebratory. Like, hey, we did it. They put in so much work to get there. I don't know what all it takes, but I was really happy for them. Just even though they're all strangers, I don't know what the channel was about or what the community does, but they were having a party. So I listened for I don't know 20 minutes or so, and they talked about some like phenotype stuff with regard to racism, which was very informative. And then they had a discussion about how uh, black folks can't be racist.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And yes, and I know that, and I've heard that from other people who I respect. And so it's not that I'm like, hey, wait a second, yes, they can. It's kind of like help me understand that. And I think I have a pretty good. I think I get what they were after, but I wanted to hear what your thoughts were. But if that's not a conversation we want to do
Well,
tonight,
so they're talking about the power dynamics of it.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
we
oppression.
yes, they're talking about oppression, they're talking about the history, like there's no
Systemic racism.
yes, I can't be racist in the way that you want me to be because I don't have the power that you have. Now, whether I have some thoughts about you or, or how y'all move or whatever, that's a different type of conversation. But like when people bring it up to me, I'm like, well, I mean, when I was coming up as a kid, you hear conversations, you know what I mean? In the I call them table talk conversations, kitchen table conversations. And
Mm-hmm.
basically they're just warnings like don't do this, don't do that, that kind of thing, but they're speaking from their lived experience and they're passing it on to their children. What do you expect our elders to teach us based off their lived experience?
Right.
Like it's really not that hard for people to. The thing about it is that they want to remain ignorant because to remain ignorant means that you have to make a change. And people think, well, I don't talk like that or I don't but you continue to vote for these systems that oppress people. That is the definition of racism, where you take your power, your authority, and you continue to vote for things that do not help others. That I mean, racism, ableism, homophobia, all of that stuff. You can't say that you ain't some type of way, but then I check your voting record, and your voting record says, nope,
Yep.
that's who you are. And they say, well, no, I only do it for abortion. That's a lie. That's a lie.
No,
I,
because if you keep digging deeper with them, then it'll be the illegals, it'll be the transgenders. I love how they put an S at the end of every word as a point of ownership.
right.
Um,
That's
and
crazy.
it's like if you keep digging with them, they'll lay it all out on the table. And it's not just for abortion. It's
Man,
about all of the prejudices that they have, all of them.
I can tell you from my perspective, being in white churches, as a biracial person, some of them get real comfortable, and they say, "You know what I'm saying?" No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't know what you. I mean, I think I told you about this, Ryan. I was in college, and this girl, she's like, "Come in my room." And I was like, okay, what's up? She's like, I want you to hear this song. And I was like, okay. The song, number one, she was dating this guy on campus that had these massive Confederate flags on the back of his truck.
Oh God.
And so everybody kind of knew what he was like, but the school wasn't doing nothing about it. So she pulls me in the room and she plays this song for me. And essentially what the song is saying, that there's a white woman and she's with a black man, and that she should be strange fruited along with him for their relationship. And I was like, and I looked at her and she's laughing. And I'm like, why do you think I think this is funny? And immediately her whole entire demeanor changed. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, no. I said, this ain't an apology kind of situation. I was like, I said, you need to break up with him because I said, you have a black roommate. Have you played this for her? And she was mortified, as she should have been. But this was at a Christian university. Now, I think that her and her boyfriend had a conversation because at North Greenville, when we had the old cafeteria, we had like 3 sections to the caf, and all the black people sat closest. We actually called it heaven, purgatory, and hell because closest to the kitchen was hot. But all the black people sat in hell. But
Oh man.
and so he decides that he's gonna come over there, and you know how we are. We get together, we laugh, we're loud, we talking, we talk over each other, but we all know what we're talking about. And he goes, and I was with one of the white guys at the campus. He was kind of like the cool white boy, like he knew all the black people and he was cool with us. And I'm sitting there, I'm talking to him. This guy sits down a little ways down the table. He literally says this out loud. He goes, I wish those bunch of monkeys would shut up.
Stop
Y'all,
it.
I tell you what, I almost fought that dude right there. Like, they had to like pull me out because I was cussing. I said, forget Jesus. I'm getting you together. I told him, I said, who in the are you talking to? And I mean, but after that, I was like, if North Greenville don't do something about him, I'm definitely out of here. I think that's what really did it for me. Was after that whole entire, like, I'm telling you, like, it's in there. I can't even explain it.
Yeah. They
I'll
had
tell you all
a
my
conversation about the one drop rule too. That was part of the
yes. That's if you have a black father, that means you're black. There's a lot of like our own things within our community that we talk about, and that's one of them. Like, some people feel like because I'm biracial that I'm not full black. I don't care what they have to say because that's the first thing that shows up when I walk in a room.
That's
Like,
what they told me though when I was pregnant with Caleb because his dad was black, and so his mother, like I hadn't even asked her the question. She was a professor of sociology at UTEP,
mm,
and so she was very outspoken. You didn't have to ask her a question; she was going to give you an answer anyway. And I was showing pretty well, and she said, "So you know that when the baby's born, they're going to put black on his birth certificate." And I was like, "Okay." And she said, "I don't care how light he is, it'll say black on his birth certificate."
I'd be
Like
like,
I don't
okay.
like she was trying to offend me with that or something. I don't know.
You'd be like people. I mean, you'd be real surprised, like how many people still have hangups about biracial relationships. Like, there are people out here, like they may not necessarily tell their kids, but they'll make the person that they're dating extremely uncomfortable.
It's so
Like,
stupid.
I mean, it is stupid, and I mean, I'm thankful that we're getting to a place as a nation where it's just getting browner and browner and browner.
Yep.
Because
What's the year, Brandy? Um, is it,
54, I think, 2054. That's what I
yeah.
heard. I don't know if that's right or not.
I've heard a couple of different ones. I've heard 2050. I've heard 2035. I've heard 2054. So I didn't
people
even know
gonna
if you'd know
be
what I was talking about, Ryan.
people
Sorry.
are gonna be with who they're gonna be with.
Yeah,
And I don't. If my kids bring home a white boy, an Asian boy, it's probably gonna be Asian because my kids have an obsession. My kid is like, "Let's go to Japan." I'm like, "I ain't got no money." It just, I don't care. Like, I just want to know you're gonna treat my kid right. That's all I want to know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Are you a
You
good
have,
person?
Brandy, you have two girls,
I have two girls.
and is it the younger one that's 11 or the older one?
The oldest one is 11, and the youngest one is 4. The 11-year-old, she so I'm working with her because she doesn't quite understand attraction still, because I've been like probing her for like, because so she draws like a lot of like anime and stuff, and she's been assigning sexuality to her characters. And I was looking at him, and I was like, Victoria, can you tell me what pansexuality means? I think she's hearing these things at school, but she doesn't know what they mean. And she's like, oh, I don't know. I was like, okay. And then one day she was like, Mom, I think I'm bisexual. And I was like, okay. I said, can you tell me what that means? I just was trying to figure it out. And she was like, I like girls and boys. And I said, okay. I said, when you say like, what does that mean for you? And she goes, oh, I love being around them. I just think that they're fun. And I said, okay, and I was trying to lead her to see what her understanding of attraction means. And she doesn't understand what it means. She's
Just too young.
right. She's experimenting with words.
Yeah.
But I am being mindful. Like,
Yeah.
and she asked me, she was like, I know that you don't care, Mom, but what does other people think about being gay? And we talk about it, and so she's curious. But I think that the curiosity is coming from things that she hears at school. If that makes sense.
No, it does.
I don't know, Streak. You might be able to enlighten me more on that.
Um, so, I mean, I'm probably not the best person to ask that specific question
Mhm.
because I knew that my body didn't fit me when
Mhm.
I remember first thinking about that when I was about 6.
Okay.
And I also know that my granddaughter came out as bi when she was a, let's see, about 10, I think.
Okay.
Um, and I know that she came out to me and not her mom and dad because
Mhm.
my grandkids know they can talk to me about anything,
Right.
anything. And so when I, I I took what she said and I was like, okay. I said, you can, baby, you can be whatever you want to be, right? And she's like, I know. I was like, okay, cool. And then I
Right.
started watching very closely
Mm.
the things that she was watching and the things that she was saying and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um, and I found her making comments a lot about women
Mhm.
and not about boys.
Okay.
And so I went to my daughter and I said, listen, this is between you and me. And if you say anything, I'll deny it. Um, I said, have you noticed anything with Ashlyn, um, with how she likes boys or girls or doesn't like one or the other? And she said, oh, yeah. And I said, she said, I don't know when I should go to and try and talk to her. And I said, you don't.
Mm. I
When
understand that.
she's, yeah, when she's ready to talk to you, she will come to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to her, that's going to put her on the defensive. So don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, have you had any of these discussions with her dad? Now, her dad is a hardcore Trumper and what I call a Bible thumping Christian. Um, he makes me crazy. And so she said, yeah, I've talked to him. And he said, ugh, he said, she can be gay or lesbian or whatever she wants to be as long as she's not trans.
Ugh.
And I was like, what? Wait, what?
I'm telling, it's like this. They just, I don't know what it is. Like, I'm like, y'all don't read history, anthropology. Like, I say, y'all just don't even care.
But I think so. My granddaughter will still, okay, this is one of her favorites. Have you seen, I don't know how much TV you guys watch or don't watch, whatever. There's a commercial for J'adore perfume.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman,
Sugar.
yes, and it's Rihanna.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I've only seen the white
Oh
lady. What's her
my
name?
God.
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron used to do it, yes. So now Rihanna's doing it. And Rihanna is one of the most beautiful women on the planet.
Oh, oh
Just
yeah,
gonna
for
say.
sure. Yes.
Whew. And so sorry. So sorry. I did not mean for that to
Listen, I
sorry.
do the, I be the
Sorry.
same way when I see Meg Thee Stallion. I be like, Lord have mercy.
Oh yeah, her too. But this commercial with Rihanna, my granddaughter, when she hears it, she will come from whatever room she's in this house to come and watch this commercial.
Oh Lord.
And I'm like,
Uh-oh.
I said, baby, do you know who that is? And she goes, oh yeah. And I said, do you think she's pretty? And she said, Granny, she's beautiful. And I'm
Aw.
like, she is, isn't she?
I mean, it is
Um,
what it is. That's the reality.
exactly. But I feel like my granddaughter, when she's around her parents, is in the
Mm-hmm.
closet. And when she's over
Right.
here, she's free to be who she is.
I understand that.
Because I think that she knows that her dad would have a really hard time with any, not just the transgender part, with
Mm-hmm.
any of it. I don't
Right.
care what he says.
Right.
And I think that she knows that he would probably try to pray away the gay.
Which doesn't work, and it's already
No,
been proven.
no, it doesn't.
I don't understand
But
why it's
I
so
just,
hard for them to take in new information.
I don't know. But as far as the kids go, I think that kids at a very early age know what they like.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yes,
may not be able to put it into words, but they know what they like.
I knew.
Oh, okay. Listen, you just popped on like that. And that's the thing. I'm trying to be like an observant parent and allowing her to grow into herself,
Uh-huh.
and making sure that she understands. And one thing about me is that because I didn't have my innocence growing up as a kid, I wanted to make sure that my kids remained as innocent as long as I could keep them innocent.
Hmm.
And when I say innocent, I don't mean like not knowing about things, but like,
No, that's
um,
different. That's ignorance.
right. No, I don't mean ignorance. I mean letting them be kids, not worrying about stuff that they don't need to be worried about right now. And I really feel like my kid is she's moving at a good pace that I'm comfortable with, and I'm just trying to be mindful of, how I raise her, how I want to make sure, because I mean, sexuality was pushed onto me very fast, because I didn't have any boundaries as a child. So I'm trying to make sure that she maintains very, whether it's a guy, girl, whatever, that she has very, um, that she's innocent until it's time. If that makes sense, what I'm saying. So
It sounds like you're doing the right things as a mom to me.
thank you. I appreciate that because I'm like, as we move into these teenage years, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm gonna have questions. I'm sure mine are
Yeah,
still young.
I'm.
It sounds like Deacon, are yours? You said you have young ones.
Yeah, I well, I have my eldest is a tween, so we're like on the precipice.
Oh boy.
And we're just trying to break cycles. Like we're just trying to question the ways that we were raised growing up. And but my ultimate goal as a parent is to fuck up my kids less than I got fucked up.
Me too. Me too. I agree. Now, Deacon, for your lives, is your focus just mainly on deconstruction? Do you focus on reconstruction at all, or?
Yeah. So what my current spiel, like I've done like God debates and free will debates and stuff like that. I decided though, I'm like, there are better debate spaces, and I'm not saying like I couldn't get to, do it the way other channels do, but like no, there is a niche that I think is not getting filled as often, and that's just having a place that isn't about debate, but it's just about like listening,
Right.
sharing your stories. And I had a guy on my last live. He was like, "I'm deconstructing atheism," and I'm kind of like toying with theism, whatever. I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about that. What sort of questions are you working through and stuff like that. And like people on both sides feel very comfortable. And I find that when people are, when they feel like they're being understood, they're not as defensive. So there won't be as much of that backfire effect where you just entrench them further in their foolishness.
Right. No, I understand. Like, that's very interesting that you said deconstruct. No, actually, no, because so I'm on Substack, and I don't know how I got over here, but I talk to a lot of like open process, relational people that are in that theology space. Uh, because there's other theologies out here besides the main ones. And what I find is that some of them are atheists, but they're open to a little mystery. And it's kind of like a sweet spot for them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I have a very like psychology driven sort of new religion for myself. I identify as an atheo-pagan. I use like eclectic pagan practices while acknowledging where everything comes from and teaching about the people that provide it to us. I do like runes for divination, and I do sort of. I'm part of OBOD, which is the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids, based out of the UK. And so I work through the Gwearsy and do all that. But like I do it, and this is just because, of course, I come from that like where supernatural beliefs and dogma were very harmful in my context, and especially to people with less privilege.
Right.
But I can't remember where I was going with that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
I rabbit trailed. Um,
We
if
were
you can
talking
remind me
about
the last thing I said,
theologies.
I'll be back
Oh,
on.
I said we were talking about theologies. That's what we were talking about. The open process, the relational.
Oh yes. I was saying because it was harmful to have those sorts of beliefs. I'm like understandably repulsed by that sort of thing. So with this atheo-paganism, I'm like, first of all, don't tell me I can't do magic. Don't tell me I can't
I understand.
explore all these things in an epistemologically responsible way. And also don't tell me I have to believe in this God or this blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to explore. I'm going to be open to that cognitive dissonance, open to that
Yes.
not knowing, just throw myself into it. And it's been super rewarding. So my theology now is that like nature has been doing systems longer than we have. So we
Mm,
should see how they do it and mimic it and like live with it,
mm.
like preserve it and extend it and all this. So a bit of a solar punk, but
Oh, that's interesting because because I've in my deconstruction, I've been like studying like cosmologies and metaphysics and that kind of thing. And so I'm always interested in hearing about the different cosmologies or the worldviews associated with like different religions or philosophies or um so I find that interesting.
it's like if we understand that we are like all part of these larger systems, that satisfies that whole higher power sense, you know. But if we would also understand like the interconnectedness of these relationships, things like intersectionality would become pretty like natural to think
Yes.
about, because you're
Yes.
thinking about the way that things meet each other.
Yes.
And just by observing this nature and respecting it and being wise about it, like we can create systems that aren't as harmful, that aren't as unbalanced, whatever. And so that's sort of a religious view to me, because it has to do with my value system, it has to do with my ethics, it has to do with
Hmm.
what I try to educate myself on and listen to other voices on.
Yes.
But so if I can encourage that sort of like critical thinking, but also just like embrace of the complexity and mystery, that's religion to me.
Yes. No, no, I was talking to Ryan because I think that I was on Threads. Ryan sees me on there sometimes, and I have one of my favorite atheists that is on there. And he was getting very frustrated with me because I wouldn't say whether or not I believed in God. And I was like, it's not a yes or no to me. It's I'm open to mystery. Like we don't know. We like I mean these texts came from somewhere and these people had their own ideas of, what they think is this or that. I just don't feel the need to that binary thinking. I can't get with it. Like I'm just like
Yeah, I like to say that the universe is under no obligation to make sense to me.
that's very true. That's very true.
Hmm.
Yes,
I know
because it
in
won't
that
make
same
sense.
conversation, Brandy, I think you mentioned that you were like seeking to have conversations with somebody that knows cosmology, or right? Am I
Yeah,
reading?
so I've connected with a few metaphysics people on Substack. A lot of them are I don't. What's a weird way for me to say this? I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but it's almost like boutique. I don't know,
I understand that.
it's. I'm not saying it's not serious. I'm just saying that they have their own that like different people have different type of metaphysical makeups for what they believe, which is fine. I don't, I'm not opposed. For me, because I'm a liberation scholar or theologian. I don't know what you want to call me. I just have if it doesn't have justice in it, I don't I don't care for it. I mean, I respect it, but I feel like your morals should lead you to liberation in some kind of sense. And I think that when I have like conversations about with some of the folks that dabble in metaphysics, they don't understand what I mean by justice. They think that harmony is justice. And I'm like, no, I said there has to be it has to be embodied. You just can't want to do good. You have to embody your goodness. And I think that a lot of people, I don't know if maybe if I rub them the wrong way when I tell them because they're like, my metaphysics is exactly like yours, and I'm like, no. I was like, I don't think you're understanding liberation quite in the sense that I understand it. I guess.
Our church was very antagonistic to like that sort of like social justice theology, like liberation theology.
Hmm.
Like it was like Oh, we're to be about the affairs of heaven, not the affairs of earth.
Yes,
And
yes.
of course, that gets into all kinds of very racist, like justifications for our political views and all that. Um, I used to be taught like the reason that African Americans, that BIPOC in this country suffer so much. Of course, they wouldn't have said BIPOC. Uh, the reason they suffer so much is because they have a victim mentality, and really now that the law is colorblind, all is okay, and
Right.
and like this very any kind of culture or difference difference whatsoever was like, oh, you're not in the melting pot, you're not in that one flavor of America we all what that God wants.
Right. They can't shed that hierarchical thinking. Like it's that in their eyes, somebody always has to be on bottom. It's a I mean, grant the reason why it's that way is because how they read the Bible. That's number one, and because they have not detached Rome from their religion. like
Yeah.
like Rome is hanging on.
Yeah. Oh man, just like look at any church, like the hierarchy you have in the church, both socially and like officially.
Yes.
It's really quite baked in there. And then when of course Greece and Rome start conquering the Levant, you end up having like those ideas seep in about now suddenly God has captains of angels and workers of angels and like this military structure. Like you can,
Yes.
if you look back through the history of the formation of the Bible, you can literally see that seep in and
Yes.
evolve their theology because of where they were.
I think people are in denial about how much influence. And I know Ryan, we talked about when I talked to y'all about Constantine walking in with his purple robe on.
Yeah.
Like I really think that people think, oh, Rome really didn't have any impact on the Bible. Man, y'all are crazy. Like historically, you don't even make sense. Like, why would Rome keep around something that they're either A, they're going to change it or tinker with it, or B, they're going to continue what they were doing before the Council of Nicaea? I mean, I think that people have like this weird idea about church history. I'm like, it was very political. I
Yeah.
mean,
We had this weird view that it was like the. I'm sorry, I lost it again. I'm struggling tonight. I'll remember in a minute.
it's okay. It's okay. No, we talk about
Uh,
all kind of stuff here. We're just we're really all over the
I
place
remember now.
tonight.
can I tell you?
I remember. Sorry.
Go ahead.
We had this idea that like so Jesus and like the first 12 disciples and maybe a couple others beyond had it right. And then like politics came into the church and ruined it. But thank God for the Reformation. Of course. Like that's the view we had of the history of the
Yeah,
Bible.
absolutely.
Like the Reformation is the pinnacle of Christian church history. I'm like, I beg to differ. I don't know. The fact that Constantine was called the high priest, that should tell you something. I mean, he was a pagan priestess. Or pagan priest, I'm sorry.
I was surprised.
Like, I'm like, he's a high priest, y'all. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, he had a whole title and everything. And I was like, and Constantine wasn't a Christian. Like, he was offing people in his family. He did a deathbed baptism.
He had giant statues of himself. I mean, come on.
I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, these men thought that they were gods for real. Like, I don't know. I just think that I don't know. I feel like they just glamorize it. Maybe it's like their own version of Lord of the Rings or something. I don't know.
Memorize, you mean like saying that Constantine looked up at the sky and saw a cross and a banner that said, "In this sign, conquer"?
Like, come on, man. I mean, Ryan, when you were in seminary, because you've been, I haven't. When you were in seminary, like, what did they teach you about Rome and its influence on the church?
Uh, well,
Oh,
we
no, no, if you've been to, I'm sorry. I apologize.
no. I'm like, oh, where to start on this? So Romans chapter 13, Paul makes some very surprising statements about
Hmm.
the power of Rome. It's like, he beareth not the sword in vain. That if you do not do right, then he is God's instrument to bring you into submission.
Hmm.
That like to disobey the government. It says no authority is given except that which is given under heaven.
Okay.
And that's Rome's authority is God's authority, which is a very surprising statement.
Hmm.
And so, but we really kind of believe that, and so we would demonize, as the New Testament was initially intended to do, was to demonize the Jews of that day, the ones that were
Hmm.
rebelling against Rome.
Right.
And they and so it was like, oh, Paul also, Paul, or the author, in chapters 9 through 11 in the book of Romans, talks about God cutting off the original branch. But if God could graft the Gentile branch, the unnatural branch, into the tree, then surely God can restore the original branch. Talking about this like future restoration of the Jews, which gets into evangelical support for Israel, but that's another topic.
Right. Well, the thing about it is that so like when Paul talks about not despising the root, they turned around and did it anyway. The Gentiles, I mean, they literally did the thing that Paul told them not to do, and but then they say, you know, like, this is my opinion. I really feel like most of what Christianity is they basically push the original people out of their own faith. And then they turned around and said, this isn't yours. It belongs to us. And like, it was definitely colonized. Like, I mean,
Quickly,
yeah.
right? I mean, relatively quickly. Brandy, to answer your question, we didn't. I mean, when I think back at my time in school, we did discuss the Roman Empire in church history. Like, I don't think that they were like, this was of God or God ordained, but so much of what I learned at Trinity was from conversations with other students.
Okay.
And so it blurs together, like the conversations that I had with that Charlie Dates, the guy that pastors up in Chicago. That was like, he was as formative as far as how I think about things as some of the classes, if that makes any sense. And there was another guy, his name was Jonathan Triple. I don't know what he's doing anymore. Like, I didn't expect to interact or to cross paths or ever hear from Charlie Dates again. And then I found him on here. You know, I just got social media a year ago, and it was just a few months ago that I came across him, and I was just like, this is awesome. Like, he's pastor in some churches, and I don't remember exactly where he stands, but I know that I don't know if he would describe himself as a liberation theologian.
Yeah, I haven't listened to him enough to know. I do know that there's a few, like Reverend Otis, he is, and then there's one other guy, Bishop, it starts with a T. I know he is. I mean, there's very few and far. Bishop William Barber, he's a liberation theologian. They're very few and far in between. I think that it's starting to become a little bit more known. The issue that we're running into is the labels that they have attached to it. And And if you really understand liberation theology, it is probably one of the most accurate when it comes to anthropology, when it comes to the having a historical critical lens. I'm telling you, like, these liberation theologians, they know the anthropology of the Bible like the back of their hand. It's
Um,
it's impressive.
can I ask a
Hmm.
question?
Mhm.
The liberation theology, did that, at least as far as the United States is concerned, did that like come through the Methodists?
No, I would say so it depends on the type, okay? So in Latin America, it came up through the Catholic Church. Liberation theology for Black people has been around since we got here. Because what happened when we became slaves, they needed Christianity to mold what they had. So, we were given like slave Bible, and I would just like to put this out here for the chat that Calvinism is the one who did it. The Calvinists, they created a slave Bible. But what my ancestors did, they would listen to the sermons, and they would pick out the liberation parts, and they would compare what was given. It was very ancestral. Like, you have people like Frederick Douglass. You have doggone it, the Underground Railroad.
Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman. When you hear them, saying things like going down by the river, and what they're doing is they're pulling the imagery from the Bible, and they're finding the liberation in the text, despite what was given to them by their oppressors. So what they found the symbolism that's laid on top of those old stories, and that they were able to see the Bible as it was intended to be read. It's intended to be read through symbolism. And so that's why, you got people like Martin Luther King, like he was a liberation thing. That's why a lot of white evangelicals say, oh, well, he didn't really believe in Jesus. Or no, he went to seminary, he studied, he wrestled with the text, just like every theologian student gets to do, and he came to his own conclusions. He just didn't come to your conclusions. But my question is, his conclusions produced civil rights. Your conclusions was you was trying to keep segregation. So whose theology is right?
Mm-hmm. Brandy, when you talk about the slave Bible, that they basically just tried to neuter out anything that would be liberating, right?
Yes.
And they still found liberation in what they got.
So you have to think that during those times, like, they would have certain segments for their slaves, right? So the thing about it is that the Bible was originally an oral religion. You learn by listening, not necessarily by sight. That's why the Bible says, we don't walk by sight. We hear, we listen. The Bible says, you have heard it said, but this is what I say unto you. That was their tradition. It was oral. It was storytelling. So that's why when a lot of the atheists, they say, oh, you guys, you just borrowed stories. I mean, it was based. You know how you have like rap battles? It was story battles. Like, all of these people knew these stories, like the flood and Gilgamesh, all that stuff. But what the Jewish people did, they were like, we're going to put a liberation spin on it. And Yahweh is a God of justice. That's why when he names himself, he says, I'm merciful, I'm this, I'm that. They're trying to pull you have to read the symbolism. You cannot read those stories literally.
The one who sees me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they're taking narrative, they're putting symbolism on top of the narrative. But if you don't know the key to it, you're going to read it literally, which you're not supposed to do. That's not how the Bible works. And so, and that's the reason why they don't like liberation theology, is because we understand the anthropology of the Bible. I literally had a guy say to me last week, I was debating him on I always say this wrong, supersessionism. I'm still learning the terms. And I was debating him on it. And he literally said to me, he was like, no, I don't want the anthropology of the Bible learned because then it might supplant the authority of the church. What? I said, so you're willing to erase the people in the Bible? Because that's what the anthropology is, right, Ryan? It's the plot. It's the plot of the damn story. I
But
said,
it's not as important as the authority of the church.
oh,
Keeping that intact is not
Ryan, I was
lower on the
floored. I was
yeah.
like, I said, did you say this out loud in front of all these people to see? Like, you want to erase the people in the Bible so you can keep your doctrines. I said, that's why you don't see people. I said, you won't even look at the anthropology of the Bible. You're not going to look at the anthropology of the people living right in front of you. That's what they're teaching them. People's stories don't matter. That's it. No intersectionality. We're not studying that.
Some people's stories matter as long as it's this one story.
Yeah, that one story. Listen, I'm telling you what. The whole CK thing, they gonna run it into the mud.
It's already done, right?
Listen, poor Erica. They just go. They got her on the Hunger Games tour. they got her on the Hunger Games tour. Who's like
That interview that she just did, and
It
she
is Hunger Games.
her eyes watered up and she started tearing and stuff. I literally sat here and I looked at my husband and I said, you know, that's the first time I've seen her cry.
that she wasn't crying. Listen, she drying her eyes out with them tissues, looking up at the sky, getting all water.
Well,
Get out of
that's
here.
okay. So that's the first time that I've seen her even close to crying.
Listen, them dry eyes. Dry eyes.
I saw her with JD afterwards, and let me tell you, she was
Oh yeah.
feeling positive emotions.
I mean, I really believe this. It's almost like we're watching a reality show sometimes.
Yeah, it feels that way. I had listened to a
the name of
conversation.
that? What was the name of that movie? And the guy was living his life, and he found out that it was all a reality show.
Oh, with Jim Carrey.
Truman Show.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Truman Show.
Truman Show.
Yeah. It does. It feels like that sometimes. You're right.
Every day I wake up, I'm like, this is not real.
Yeah.
I
It's feeling
haven't-
more. Imagine
makes
how
you feel
more it's going to
crazy.
feel like that. I know, and I think that's only going to increase, right? Like it's already. I saw a guy that I think he's a pretty good sized creator, and he did a video, kind of critiquing this video that got 1 million views of this police officer standing up to the masked folks. I don't know what we're allowed to say and what we're not.
You can say ICE agents.
Yeah, so it was a video of a police officer confronting them and saying you're not going to be allowed to arrest people because that's illegal and blah blah blah. And it was very powerful. Like it resonated with a lot of people enough to go kind of viral. And it was all fake. Yeah, it was. And so this nerdy Christian, that's his name, a nerd Christian or something like that. He's got a page. I don't know if it's here or Instagram, but he's just like, powerful video, right? But it's not real. Like you zoom in and the patch doesn't have any it doesn't say any police department. It's like written in a different language or something. The patch on the police officer's
You have to
uniform.
look now. You have to like
Yep.
really
And that was his
pay
point. He was
attention.
just like, he was like, in a few months from now, that patch will be correct. Which
Right.
basically what he was saying is like, it fooled a million people now, even though it's fake. And in 6 months, they will clean up those mistakes that make it obvious that it's fake so that you won't be able to tell at all. And I'm just like, this does feel like we're living in some sort of,
We need, I don't think people realize how bad we need laws. I'm telling you, I mean, we did the internet, we did the computer, the Apple boom, all of that stuff. But with AI, we cannot walk into the next technological age without laws in place.
yeah.
We
And
We
it sounds
cannot
like,
get laws written with the people who write the laws right now when they're
no.
in congressional meetings asking
yeah.
questions like, if you turn on airplane mode, can TikTok listen to the plane's radio chatter? It's like,
Yes. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
you
crazy.
guys can't be. I mean, I'm to the point now where I don't even want you to be a representative unless I know you in some classes. I know that you are listening to professionals on an ongoing basis. I need you to take a test about what you know and what you don't know because these people are making laws for us and they do not know what is happening. Like that is so scary to me as an individual that these people just don't know basic science. They basic science, not even the top level stuff. Just they they don't know how colds are caught. Like I'm just I'm just constantly floored by just the sheer audacity.
Incompetence,
Yeah,
audacity is better. Yeah.
like
forced systemic
Isn't,
ignorance.
I mean, isn't, I saw some video of like Bernie Sanders trying to sound the alarm. He's just like, if we don't do anything to regulate this AI that is coming, it will be completely determined by 4 trillionaires. How it
yes.
works, how it's gonna. So I mean, he's trying, bless his heart, like he's consistent, getting up
He,
there and being like, this is not going to be good. And I don't know that anybody's
the
listening to
thing
him,
about
but
it
it
is,
is.
is that the alarm bells are already going off. OpenAI is already in lawsuits over unaliving, psychosis. Like the alarm bells are going off, and people, and I don't think that people understand like these AI models, they're trained on Western civilization. They are trained on a certain type of metaphysic. And if people don't wake up and we don't start getting some real serious conversations going on a theological level, we're going to be in serious trouble because these people know how to get in your head. Like, what do you think Cambridge Analytica was?
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is serious. Like I already see like the funnels, like like we already know about the alt-right pipeline, but that evangelical pipeline is dead serious. Like
You ever see anything that it's going to crash and fail? This AI,
I don't know. I mean, I
is
think
that possible? Like,
that
I
Will
don't,
the same way the internet did, the dot
yeah,
com bubble,
yeah, there will
like
be a
something like
bubble.
that.
Yes.
There's going to be some people jumping off a building. I'll just but we're still going to have the technology.
Like it's not, I think it's scary. Like I don't know. Have you ever read like Brave New World or I don't know if you watch like Black Mirror or
Oh yeah.
like I know that Black Mirror is fantasy, but I mean the warnings you should pay attention to
Right.
because they want people need cognitive sovereignty in America. I mean around the world they need cognitive sovereignty. And if think about this, if they can indoctrinate you as a Christian just through words, right? just by reading the Bible and you going to church and orally hearing the same thing over and over and over again. These people know how algorithms work. They know how funnels work. They know, they gave all those people those quizzes. They were testing people's binary measures. Like, they know what they're doing. And that should scare everybody. Like, doctrines are analog. They can be digitized. They're worldviews. And people need to pay attention to that kind of thing, because it should scare you, at least with your kids. Because think about where they're going to be.
Have you guys seen? I have to go real in a couple
Yeah, I'm
minutes.
running in a minute too.
By the way, I love the phrase cognitive sovereignty. I want to talk more about that.
Yes.
But have you guys seen the neural, like, brain AI interfaces?
Maybe I have, but I just don't know.
So they're growing like human brain organoids in
I
labs,
saw that.
and they're actually
Yes.
causing them to differentiate into the sorts of folds that like a fetal brain would, and they're hooking it up to like software, to AI algorithms, and
Are you talking about like Maya and I can't remember the male's name, where they're teaching them to have like human emotions and stuff?
in a sense, in that they use like punishment and reward signals to
Okay.
craft the neurons into networks that understand and can like
Okay.
play Pong and stuff. And the reason they're doing this is because it is cheaper and more effective for the brain to do it than for a machine to do it. And they're like putting this in like things with limbs, and ultimately they're working on building basically a human brain in a robot body. And
Oh,
we're barely having these ethics discussions in the public sphere, and certainly not in the media.
No, they are not. And you can talk about lawsuits all day, but these people do not have ethics. They
Well, didn't someone just straight up ask Peter Thiel, like, how important to you is like the humanity surviving? And he's like, yeah,
I'm like, how are you going to make money, sir?
I know.
I don't get it. I mean, and these people are like hopped up on drugs, on
Yeah.
TV. I'm like,
That's what they said. They were like, this guy, this Peter Thiel guy, he does two things professionally. He works on like drone technology and for the military, and also surveillance of any and everything. That's what he does.
Palantir.
That's what he does with his life. But in his spare time, his hobby is the Antichrist. I'm like, this is an amazing combination of horror.
but
Read up on that dark.
but think about it. These guys they're philosophers. Think about that. They dabble in philosophy. These people, I'm telling you, they have figured it out. They understand how these things work. They understand worldviews. They understand categories. They understand how worldviews are built.
isn't it funny though? Back in the 70s, the people that did all of the drugs and thought about philosophy, what they did was make really good music.
Right. Why can't we just have that? Why we got to have scary guys
I'm
with drones?
optimistic. I am choosing naively, ignorantly to be hopeful. Like, I think that it could be a mess for the next generation, but sometimes I think that like the only option is for us as people to reject it. Maybe we can't. Maybe it's just going to be implemented in a way that we'll all succumb to it, even despite our efforts.
Not if I have any. Listen, I'm going to write as many papers as I can to try to get attention on that. Like, we have to have this conversation. Theologians need to be having this conversation. Scholars, philosophy scholars, like we need humanities so bad right now.
Have y'all read up on like the Dark Enlightenment stuff?
Yes, I did when it first came out.
I only like in the last year kind of did a deep dive into it. Like when like JD Vance was put in and Thiel was mentioned and Elon was having this row with both Thiel and Trump. I was like, okay, who are these guys? And yeah, so I'm less than a year into unfortunately knowing about this. Well, okay, fortunately knowing about it, but
It's listen, it's Calvinist adjacent. It is. Listen, capitalism is secular Calvinism. It's all it is. White.
Is that different than just secular Aristotle?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Is it the
It
same?
it's
Yeah.
investment
it's
literature
Greek
is built on that stuff.
Right.
it's Greek metaphysics plus the economy. White supremacy is whiteness plus Greek metaphysics. Evangelicalism, orthodoxy, not all orthodoxy because they're not all the same, but the Catholic Church, all of that, it's Jesus plus Greek metaphysics. If now just imagine if you just took all of that off and just had the Greek metaphysics, but y'all want to live like Rome again?
No, thank you.
There's a growing number of people who would say yes.
Yes, these people, think about it. They're obsessed with Rome. What they
Yeah.
say, are you thinking about Rome today? What? Why?
Wasn't it in here, Brandy, that you had the conversation with the young guy and he said that Rome was the best shoot, what was it? The
Oh,
best
we were talking about who was the greatest Roman emperor. I said
yeah.
Constantine, and he said, oh, I don't know who he said. He said it was somebody.
Marcus Aurelius.
I told him, I said, ain't nobody doing the same numbers
Yeah.
as Constantine.
Yeah. Exactly.
So anyway, I'm gonna hop off because my
Let's
husband.
call it.
Yeah.
This is the best. Thank you guys. Deacon
Thanks,
bounced.
Ryan. Thanks,
Yeah,
Brandy.
this is my favorite.
Yeah. I'll see y'all next week.
Next Wednesday. I love it. You guys are the best. Have a good rest of the
All
week.
right. See y'all
You
soon.
too. All
Bye.
right,
Bye
bye.
bye. Yeah.